The ancients did not write their greatest truths on stone, but on silence. They did not carve their wisdom into mountainsides, but etched it into the resonant stillness that exists behind the noise of the world. They knew that what you seek is not a destination to be reached, but the very ground upon which you stand. It is a memory, a whisper, an unseen legacy passed down not through bloodline, but through consciousness itself. You have felt it in moments of profound quiet, in the breath between thoughts, in the sudden, inexplicable certainty that there is more to this life than what your eyes can see. This feeling is not an illusion. It is a homing signal, a call from the deepest part of you to the whole of you. It is the beginning of remembering. We live in a world that screams for our attention, a world of dazzling surfaces and constant motion, designed to keep us looking outward, always searching, always striving, always feeling that we are somehow incomplete. We are taught to build our identities from the outside in, with achievements, with relationships, with possessions, until the self becomes a fragile collage of external things. And so, we have forgotten the language of our own soul. We have become deaf to the wisdom that flows not from books or gurus, but from the infinite wellspring within. This journey, the one we are embarking upon now, is not about learning something new. It is about unlearning. It is an excavation. We are here to gently dust off the layers of conditioning, of fear, of doubt that have obscured the truth of who you are. We are here to unseal the ancestral tablets. These are not physical artifacts buried in some forgotten desert. They are living codes, principles of the universe inscribed within your spiritual DNA. They have been called forbidden, not because they are evil, but because their power is so immense that it returns all authority, all creativity, all divinity back to you. To know them is to reclaim your sovereignty from a world that profits from your amnesia. So breathe. Let the noise of your day fall away. Let the demands and the deadlines and the worries fade into the background. You are now entering a sacred space, a space that has always been here, waiting for you, a space inside you. Together, we will walk this inner landscape. We will learn to read the silent language, to translate the whispers, to hold the keys that unlock the vast, luminous reality you carry within. The journey does not promise to be easy, but it promises to be true. It is time to stop searching. It is time to start seeing. It is time to come home. Here begins the unsealing of the first tablet. It is not found in the earth, but in the space between you and the world you perceive. It is not a commandment etched in stone, but a living truth whispered in the language of light itself. Its inscription is simple, yet it holds the power to dismantle the very foundation of your suffering. It says this: "You are the observer, and you are the observed. From the moment you were born, you were taught a fundamental lie, a lie so pervasive, so deeply ingrained, that it has become the invisible architecture of your reality. The lie is that you are separate. You believe you are a person, a small, isolated self, locked inside a body, looking out through your eyes at a world that is out there. You feel yourself to be a subject, and everything else, the trees, the sky, the people you love, the challenges you face, is an object, separate and distinct from you. This belief is the source of all loneliness, all fear, all grasping for security. It is the original wound, and it is an illusion. Let us examine this together, gently. Consider the simple act of looking at your hand. You say, "I am looking at my hand. It seems so obvious." There is I, the observer, and there is the hand, the observed. But where is this experience truly happening? The light from the room reflects off your hand, enters the lens of your eye, and is projected onto your retina. This image is then converted into a cascade of electrochemical signals that travel along your optic nerve into the intricate, mysterious network of your brain. And there, somewhere within that silent, dark space of your skull, the experience of seeing your hand arises. The color of your skin, the lines on your palm, the shape of your fingersit, is all a vibrant, complex sensation occurring not out there, but deep within your own consciousness. The same is true for every sense. The sound of a distant bell is not truly distant. The sound waves travel through the air, but the experience of hearing, the quality of the tone, the feeling it evokes, that is a vibration within your own field of awareness. The warmth of the sun on your skin is a flurry of nerve endings firing, a story being told directly to your inner world. The world you experience is not an external reality you are merely witnessing. It is an internal creation, a grand symphony of sensation that your consciousness is composing and conducting in every single moment. The out there and the in here are not two places. They are one single, unbroken, indivisible event. You are not a visitor in the universe. You are the very space in which the universe is happening. This brings us to a profound realization. If the world is an experience within you, then your perception is not a passive camera, simply recording what is. Your consciousness is an active force. Imagine it as a great lighthouse, standing on the infinite shores of existence. The vast ocean before it is the field of all potential, a dark, formless sea of every possibility. The lighthouse itself is your awareness, and the beam it casts is your attention, colored by your beliefs, your memories, and your emotions. The lighthouse does not create the ocean, but it is the beam of light that calls a specific reality forth from the darkness. Where you shine the light of your attention, a world appears. If your beam is focused on scarcity, on what is missing, on past hurts, then the waves that crash upon your shore will be those of lack and sorrow. The ships you see on the horizon will be threats, and the sound of the ocean will be a mournful roar. The ocean of potential has not changed, but your illuminated experience of it, your reality, is one of struggle. If, however, you consciously choose to swing that great beam of light toward gratitude, toward the subtle beauty in the present moment, toward the love that is available to you right now, then the very same ocean reveals a different face. You begin to see the shimmer of light on the water. You notice the dance of the seabirds. The sound of the waves becomes a soothing rhythm, a cosmic lullaby. The ships on the horizon become vessels of opportunity and connection. You have not changed the world, you have changed the focus of the projector, and in doing so, you have called forth an entirely new world from the same field of infinite potential. You are the lighthouse keeper who has forgotten that he is also the light, the feeling of being a small, anxious self. The one who worries and strives is merely the keeper in the tower, identifying with the machinery, believing himself separate from the great beam he tends. He feels the wind and the rain and believes he is under assault from the world, not realizing that he is an integral part of the entire coastal scene. The spiritual journey is the process of the lighthouse keeper waking up. It is the realization that you are not just the keeper, you are the tower, you are the unshakable foundation, and most importantly, you are the light itself, the pure, formless awareness that illuminates all things and gives them life. When you begin to live from this understanding, the world transforms. You stop seeing life as something that happens to you, and you begin to experience it as something that happens from you and as you. The person who cuts you off in traffic is no longer a separate, hostile other. They are a ripple in the same ocean of consciousness of which you are a part. Their anger is a storm within the shared weather system of humanity. You do not have to be pulled into their storm. You can remain as the calm, deep ocean beneath the turbulent surface. The difficult challenges you face are no longer punishments from an uncaring universe. They are opportunities, custom designed by consciousness itself, to help you realize your own strength, to help you swing the beam of your lighthouse into forgotten corners of your own being. The observer and the observed are two ends of a single stick. You cannot have one without the other. They are locked in an eternal dance, a divine feedback loop. By observing your reality, you are participating in its creation. This is not a metaphor. It is the fundamental nature of existence. The world is a mirror, and it can only reflect back to you the face that you show it. If you look into it with fear, it will show you a world to be feared. If you look into it with love, it will show you a world to be loved. Spend a moment with this truth. Feel its weight, its power. Let it seep into your bones. Every judgment you hold about the world is a judgment about yourself. Every bit of beauty you recognize in another is your own beauty being reflected back to you. There is no separation. There is no out there. It is all you. You are the dreamer, the dream, and the one witnessing the dream. This is the first freedom. This is the first key. It is the understanding that you are not a victim of circumstance, but the silent, powerful observer at the heart of creation. As you sit with this, a question naturally arises. If my perception is the light that calls forth my reality, then what is the nature of this mechanism of perception? What is this mind, this lighthouse, that seems to have so much power? To understand the light, we must understand the lamp. To understand the creation, we must understand the Creator. And so, having recognized that we are both the observer and the observed, we must now turn our attention inward to the very loom upon which our experience is woven. Our journey now guides us to the next unsealing, to the profound and intricate mystery of the second tablet, the tablet of the woven mind. We have crossed the first threshold. We have stood within the beam of our own consciousness and recognized that we are the light that calls forth the world from the darkness of potential. Now, we must turn our gaze from the light to the lamp that generates it. We arrive at the second tablet, a tablet not of seeing, but of thinking. Its surface is like a loom, strung with infinite threads of gossamer and lead. This is the tablet of the woven mind, and its inscription reveals a truth that will unburden you forever. The thoughts you think are not your own. Pause here and feel the radical nature of this statement. The most intimate part of your identity, the ceaseless inner voice you call me, may not be you at all. From your first breath, you have been taught to identify with this voice. You believe you are the author of your worries, the creator of your anxieties, the architect of your daydreams. This belief binds you to a wheel of suffering. For if you are your thoughts, then you are a slave to their every whim and whisper. You are guilty for your dark thoughts and proud of your clever ones, trapped in a chaotic, internal drama of your own supposed making. But what if this is a profound misunderstanding? Have you ever tried to command your mind to be silent? Have you sat, determined to find a moment of peace, only to be assaulted by a relentless parade of thoughts you did not summon? Plans for tomorrow, regrets from yesterday, fragments of a song, a sudden, baseless worry about the future. They arise, unbidden, from a source you cannot locate, and they fade away just as mysteriously. If you were truly the thinker of these thoughts, could you not simply decide to stop thinking them? The fact that you cannot proves that you are not the source. You are not the generator of the stream. You are the one sitting on the riverbank, witnessing it flow by. See your mind not as an author, but as a supremely sensitive receiver, a radio antenna of consciousness. It is constantly tuned to a vast, invisible broadcast, a thought sphere that surrounds our planet, pulsing with the accumulated thoughts, fears, hopes, and beliefs of all humanity. Every possible thought from the most depraved to the most divine exists as a potential frequency in this field. Your personal state of being, your mood, your core beliefs, your physical health, these things determine the station your mind is tuned to. When you feel fear, your antenna naturally picks up the broadcast frequency of fearful thoughts. When you feel love, you tune into the frequency of loving thoughts. The thoughts are not yours. You are simply the one who is listening. This single shift in perspective is the key to liberation. You no longer need to fight your thoughts. You no longer need to feel ashamed or guilty for the contents of your mind. To fight a thought is to give it your energy, to lock your station firmly on its frequency. The invitation here is not to fight, but to become the conscious curator of your own attention. It is to step into the role of the master gardener. Imagine your mind as a plot of fertile land, a sacred garden given to you at the moment of your birth. The soil is rich with infinite potential. The seeds are the thoughts, carried on every breeze of the collective consciousness. Seeds of despair, seeds of envy, seeds of forgiveness, seeds of genius. They are constantly falling into your garden, day and night. You cannot stop the seeds from arriving. That is not your work. Your work, your only true work, is to decide which seeds you will water. Your attention is the water. Your belief is the sunlight. When a seed of anxiety lands in your mind, a thought like, "What if I fail?" You have a choice. You can fixate on it. You can turn it over and over, examining it from every angle. This is the act of watering. You are pouring your precious life-giving attention onto this seed. You then give it belief, shining the sunlight of this is true upon it. And so, the seed sprouts. It grows roots, sinking into your emotional body. It sprouts leaves and thorny branches, becoming a large, imposing bush that casts a shadow over your inner landscape. It drains the nutrients from the soil, making it harder for other, more beautiful things to grow. You did not create the seed of anxiety, but you cultivated it. It is now a part of your reality. Now, consider a different path. The same seed of anxiety, "What if I fail?" lands in the garden of your mind. You notice it. You see it for what it is, a common, floating seed from the collective field of fear, but you do not water it. You do not give it your sustained focus. Instead, you calmly acknowledge it. The seed of fear has arrived, and then you turn your attention elsewhere. You deliberately find a different seed that has also landed there, perhaps a small, quiet seed of gratitude for the breath in your lungs, or a seed of curiosity about what you might learn. You choose to pour the water of your attention onto that seed. You shine the sunlight of your belief onto the possibility of growth and learning. That seed of anxiety, deprived of water and light, withers and blows away, becoming inert dust. It has no power over you because you did not give it your power. This is the art of conscious gardening. It is not a violent war against weeds. It is a gentle, deliberate, and loving cultivation of what you wish to see flourish. The weeds of fear, doubt, and resentment are the default state of an untended garden. They grow rampantly because they are watered by the collective anxiety of the world. To cultivate a garden of peace, joy, and empowerment requires a conscious, daily practice. It is the practice of noticing where your attention is flowing and gently redirecting it. It is the practice of choosing which inner reality you wish to bring into full bloom. Your inner garden is not separate from your outer world. They are a seamless whole. The garden is the blueprint, the energetic template. The world you experience is the three-dimensional manifestation of that blueprint. If your garden is overgrown with the thorns of resentment, you will find yourself constantly encountering people and situations that seem to prick and injure you. If your garden is filled with the fragrant blossoms of self-worth, you will attract experiences and relationships that reflect and honor that beauty. You will literally see a different world, not because the world has changed, but because you are looking at it from a different inner landscape. The observer and the garden are one. This is why positive thinking, as it is often taught, can feel like a lie. To stand in a garden full of weeds and simply chant "there are no weeds" is a form of denial. The true work is to acknowledge the weeds without identifying with them, and then to pour all of your life force, all of your loving attention into the flowers you wish to grow. Assume the feeling of the beautiful garden. Feel the peace of it. Smell the fragrance of it. That feeling is the most powerful water of all. You are the master of this sacred space. You are not the frantic, chaotic chatter of the mind. You are the silent, spacious awareness behind it. You are the gardener, standing peacefully in the center of your land, holding the watering can of your own divine attention. No thought can take root unless you permit it. No belief can grow unless you nurture it. This is your power. This is your freedom. It is the responsibility and the joy of tending to the soil of your soul. Now that we understand how to tend this garden, how to choose the thoughts we weave into the fabric of our being, a deeper question emerges. We have spoken of the seeds and the soil, but what is this soil made of? What is this fundamental substance that gives life to both the weed and the flower? To understand the dynamics of our inner world, we must dig deeper, past the roots, and into the very ground of existence. We must now turn to the third tablet, the tablet of resonant currency, to learn the secret of the universe's most vital and misunderstood element: energy. Having learned to be the vigilant gardener of the mind, choosing which thoughts to nurture with our attention, we now must go deeper. We must examine the very soil in which both the weed of fear and the flower of joy take root. We arrive now at the threshold of the third tablet. Its surface does not bear words, but hums with a palpable, living vibration. This is the tablet of resonant currency, and its sacred law is this: emotion is the currency of the universe. This is a truth of profound and startling simplicity. The universe, that vast creative intelligence in which we live and breathe, does not respond to your words. It does not understand your language, your pleas, your affirmations, or your complaints. It responds to the one language that is truly universal, the language of vibration. And your emotion is nothing less than your conscious awareness of your own personal vibration. It is the currency you use every moment of every day to purchase your experiences from the infinite marketplace of potential. You are attracting not what you think about, but what you feel. Your feeling state is your prayer, your command, your magnetic signature that you broadcast into the cosmos. Think of the world of form and circumstance as a great, responsive mirror. It does not judge. It does not have preferences. It simply and flawlessly reflects the energy you project. You can stand before this mirror and repeat the words, "I am peaceful, I am prosperous." But if your inner state, your feeling, is one of chaotic anxiety and gnawing lack, the mirror will ignore the words. It will reflect the chaos. It will reflect the lack. It cannot do otherwise. The universe does not hear what you are saying. It feels what you are being. Your feelings are the order you place with the cosmic kitchen. Your life, as you experience it right now, is the meal that has been served. To grasp this fully, let us use another metaphor. Imagine that your entire being, your body, mind, and spirit is a magnificent, finely tuned musical instrument. A cello, perhaps, or a grand piano. At your core, in your natural state, you are tuned to the perfect, silent resonance of pure being. But life causes you to play music. Every emotion that flows through you is a note or a chord played upon this instrument. These notes are not contained within you. They radiate outward in all directions, traveling through the fabric of reality, seeking out other vibrations that harmonize with them. When you allow yourself to feel genuine joy, gratitude, or love, you are playing a sublime and harmonious melody. The notes are coherent, beautiful, and powerful. This coherent frequency travels out from you and, by the immutable law of resonance, it attracts experiences, people, and synchronicities that match its beautiful tune. It is as if you are playing a captivating symphony in a grand ballroom. Other dancers, those of opportunity, of kindness, of inspiration, cannot help but be drawn to your music and join you on the floor. Your beautiful inner song orchestrates a beautiful outer dance. Conversely, when you are consumed by fear, anger, resentment, or despair, you are playing a discordant, jarring tune. The notes are chaotic, grating, and out of tune with the underlying harmony of existence. This chaotic frequency also radiates from you. It too seeks resonance, but it attracts other chaotic elements. It repels peace and deflects opportunity. It is like playing a screeching, painful noise that causes others to cover their ears and step away, while attracting only shadows and echoes of its own disharmony. Life becomes a struggle, not because you are being punished, but because the music you are broadcasting is one of struggle. The universe, in its infinite and impersonal love, simply continues to send you more things that match the song you are playing. You are the musician. This is the secret. You are not the anger. You are the one playing the note of anger. You are not the joy. You are the one allowing the chord of joy to be struck. The power lies in realizing that you are the one with your hands on the instrument. So how do you change the tune, especially when a painful song seems to be playing itself on repeat? The first step is not to fight the music. To try and suppress a strong emotion is like trying to silence a vibrating cello string with your bare hand. You may muffle it for a moment, but the tension builds and the vibration continues, often with even more force. The first step is simply to listen, without judgment, to become aware of the music you are currently playing. Feel it in your body. Where does the note of sadness live? Is it a weight in your chest? Where does the vibration of anxiety reside? Is it a tightening in your stomach? Your body is the resonant chamber of your instrument. It never lies about the frequency you are emitting. Acknowledge the sound. Ah, this is the song of grief. I hear it. I feel it. Once you have acknowledged the current note, you do not try to erase it. You simply, gently introduce a new one. You reach for a higher, more harmonious string on your instrument, and you pluck it, however faintly at first. This is the work of finding a single thought that feels slightly better. It is the work of genuine gratitude. Even in the depths of sorrow, you can find one true thing to be grateful for. The feeling of the breath entering your lungs, the warmth of a blanket, the memory of a kind word. When you focus on that one thing and truly allow yourself to feel the gratitude for it, you have just played a new note. It may be quiet, but it is harmonious. Now, you hold your attention on that new, harmonious note. You feel its resonance. As you give it your focus, it grows louder, its vibration more powerful and more coherent. The law of entrainment begins to take effect. A stronger, more organized vibration will always cause a weaker, more chaotic vibration to either match it or fade away. The beautiful note of gratitude does not fight the note of sorrow. It lovingly absorbs it, transforms it, and entrains it into its own higher harmony. You change your reality not by warring with unwanted feelings, but by consciously and deliberately cultivating the feelings you do want. You introduce a new song, and the old one simply ceases to be relevant. This is the meaning of emotional currency. It is a moment-to-moment choice. In every situation, you have the power to choose the music. You are broadcasting a signal, and reality is organizing itself around that signal. Your life is a magnificent, three-dimensional symphony of your own making. Look around you. Listen. What song are you playing right now? As we stand in this truth, we recognize the immense power we hold. We are the composers of our reality. But this also brings us to a critical juncture. What happens when the music is overwhelming? When a tidal wave of grief or rage crashes through us, and the idea of plucking a string of gratitude feels not only impossible, but offensive? To force a happy tune in the middle of a hurricane is a form of violence against the self. This reveals a deeper, more foundational law, a law that must be honored before any true vibrational shift can occur. It is the law of non-resistance. To truly master our energy, we must first learn the art of yielding to it. And so, our journey now leads us to the gateway of the fourth tablet, the tablet of unconditional surrender, where we will uncover the profound, paradoxical strength that is found only in letting go. We stand at a crucial gateway. We have recognized our emotions as the living currency of the universe, the vibrant music we send out into the cosmos. But this recognition brings us face to face with the great storms of the heart, the tidal waves of grief, the searing fires of anger, the paralyzing fogs of fear. What do we do when the music is a dirge we did not choose to play? How do we find a harmonious note when all we can feel is discord? The answer lies inscribed on our fourth tablet, a tablet that seems, at first glance, to speak of defeat, but in truth holds the secret to ultimate victory. This is the tablet of unconditional surrender. Its law is the antidote to all human suffering, and it is this: the pain of life is inevitable, but your suffering is optional. Suffering is simply pain, multiplied by your resistance to it. This is the most important spiritual equation you will ever learn. Let it sink into the marrow of your bones. The source of your agony is not your difficult circumstance, your painful feeling, or your challenging relationship. The source of your agony is your inner declaration of no to what is. It is the relentless, exhausting, and futile war you wage against reality. It is the voice that whispers, "This shouldn't be happening. I shouldn't feel this way. This is wrong." This mental and emotional bracing against the present moment is the clenched fist that turns a bearable pain into an unbearable torment. Imagine you are holding a hot coal. The initial sensation of heat is the clean, pure pain of life. It is a signal, a piece of information. The suffering begins when you clench your fist around it, refusing to let it go. You analyze the coal. You blame the person who gave it to you. You curse the universe for creating hot coals. Your fist clenches tighter, the skin blisters, the burn goes deeper. The suffering is not the heat of the coal. The suffering is the clenching. Resistance is the clenching. To understand the freedom of surrender, picture your life as a great, majestic river. It is flowing, always flowing, from a source you cannot know to an ocean you cannot see. The river is reality. It is what is. From the moment you are born, you are placed in this river. And you have a choice. You can spend your entire life fighting the current. You can decide you like to spot further upstream, and so you frantically paddle against the flow, trying to get back to a memory. You can become terrified of the bends in the river ahead, and so you desperately cling to a dead branch on the bank, your muscles screaming in protest as the powerful current tries to pull you back into its flow. This is the life of resistance. It is a life of constant, grinding effort, of perpetual struggle against the natural, intelligent unfolding of existence. The river, which could be your greatest ally, becomes your mortal enemy. Now, consider the other choice: surrender. In our world, this word has been mistaken for weakness, for giving up, for being a victim. But true, spiritual surrender is an act of profound courage and wisdom. It is not drowning. It is the conscious choice to let go of the branch. It is the decision to stop paddling against the current. It is the moment you lie back, look up at the sky, and trust the river. You allow it to carry you. You realize, in a flash of insight, that the river's intelligence is infinitely greater than your own. It knows the way. It knows the destination. By ceasing your struggle, you do not lose power. You gain it. All the energy you once wasted on fighting life is now available to you. You can use it to navigate the currents with skill and grace. You can use it to observe the breathtaking scenery on the riverbanks, the beauty you never noticed when you were fixated on your struggle. You are no longer at war with life. You are dancing with it. So how do we practice this? How do we let go of the branch when our grip is white-knuckled with fear? Surrender is not a mental idea. It is a physical, bodily practice. It begins with noticing the clenching. Right now, as you listen, bring your awareness into your body. Where are you holding on? Is your jaw tight? Are your shoulders creeping up towards your ears? Is your stomach in a knot? Is your breath shallow and constricted? This physical tension is the signature of resistance. It is the bodily form of number. The next step is not to force the tension to go away. That is just another form of resistance. The step is to breathe into it. Imagine your breath is a warm, golden liquid of pure acceptance. Inhale, and direct that warm breath directly into the center of the tightness in your shoulders. Exhale, and just allow the tightness to be there, bathed in your loving, non-judgmental awareness. You are not trying to fix it. You are not trying to change it. You are simply saying yes to it. Yes, this tightness is here right now. Yes, this feeling of fear is in my stomach. This gentle, internal yes is the master key. It is not an agreement. It is not saying you like the feeling. It is a simple, powerful acknowledgement of what is true in this moment. It is the sound of your fingers uncurling from the branch. When the great waves of emotion come, apply this practice. When grief arrives, do not build a dam against it. A dam against the river of grief will only cause the pressure to build until it breaks you. Instead, make the conscious choice to let the river of grief flow through you. Say yes to its presence. Feel its cold, cleansing water wash over every cell of your being. Trust that if you allow it to flow without resistance, it will eventually pass, leaving you on a new and fertile shore, cleansed and renewed. The same is true of anger. Let its fiery energy move through you without directing it at yourself or others. Feel its power, acknowledge its presence, and let it flow out of your system, trusting that the river knows its own way to the sea. Resistance traps old energy in the body. Surrender allows it to be released. This is the secret of all emotional healing. It is the paradox that by fully embracing a painful feeling, you allow it to transform and dissolve. What you fight, you strengthen. What you allow, you transcend. This unconditional yes to the present moment, in all its supposed imperfection, is the ultimate act of faith. It is the deep, cellular trust that even this pain, even this uncertainty, is a sacred part of the river's journey. When you stop fighting the river of life, when you let go of the banks of yesterday and the shores of tomorrow, where do you find yourself? You are no longer lost in the past or anxious about the future. You find yourself floating peacefully and powerfully in the only place and time that has ever truly existed. You arrive fully and completely in the sacred chamber of the present moment. The act of surrender is the key that unlocks the door to now. And so, cleansed by the healing waters of acceptance, our journey brings us to the portal of the fifth tablet, the tablet of the eternal. Now, where we will come to know the infinite peace and creative power that is available only in this very breath, in this very moment. Having let go of the shore of resistance, we find ourselves carried by the gentle, powerful current of the river of life. We are no longer fighting, no longer striving. We are simply here. And in this quiet space of pure arrival, we discover the fifth tablet. It is not carved with complex doctrines, but gleams with a light of utter simplicity, as if lit by a sun that never sets. This is the tablet of the eternal now. It does not contain a long inscription, for it holds a truth that exists before all words. Its essence is the key to heaven, the end of all seeking, the final resting place. Its secret is this: time is an illusion, and the present moment is the only reality you will ever experience. This may sound simple, yet it is the most profound and liberating truth you can ever embrace. Your mind has been conditioned to live anywhere but here. It has been trained to be a time-traveling machine, constantly pulling you into two realms that do not exist, the past and the future. These two phantom worlds are the source of every anxiety and every depression that has ever plagued humankind. They are the twin thieves that steal your life force, your peace, and your power. Let us look first at the ghost called the past. What is it, really? It is a collection of memories, images, and stories stored in the neural pathways of your brain. It has no substance. It has no reality outside of your own mind. The events of yesterday are gone. They exist now only as an echo, a thought form that you choose to reanimate with your attention. When you live in the past, you are choosing to haunt yourself. You carry a heavy sack filled with the rocks of old grievances, the dust of expired regrets, and the faded photographs of former glories. You walk through your present day burdened by this immense weight, reacting to current situations through the distorted lens of what once was. Guilt, shame, resentment, nostalgia. These are the emotions of a ghost, the feelings of someone who is not really here. You cannot change 1 second of the past. To dwell there is to give your precious, living energy to a phantom. Then there is the mirage called the future. What is the future? It is a projection, a fantasy, a guess. It is a mental construct of what might be, woven from your current hopes and fears. It has never existed. It will never exist. For when that moment you call the future arrives, how will you experience it? You will experience it as now. You will always only ever be here, in this present moment. To live in the future is to live in a state of perpetual what if. It is to be in a constant state of becoming and never in a state of being. Worry is the most common form of future dwelling. It is the act of mentally rehearsing a tragedy that has not happened and likely never will. You are torturing yourself in the only moment that is real, with something that is entirely imaginary. Longing, seeking, striving, anxiety. These are the emotions of the future dweller, the one who believes happiness is always just around the next corner, a corner that never comes. Imagine your life is a magnificent, sacred book, bound in starlight. Each moment of your existence is a word written on its current page. To live in the past is to be stuck on a previous chapter. Perhaps it was a tragic chapter, and you compulsively reread it, reliving the pain, unable to turn the page. Or perhaps it was a glorious chapter, and you keep flipping back to it, comparing every new page to that old one, ensuring that nothing new can ever measure up. In either case, the story of your life has stalled, because you refuse to read the page that is open before you right now. To live in the future is to be obsessed with the chapters yet to be written. You are so consumed with anxiety about the plot twists to come, or so lost in fantasy about the happy ending, that you are skimming, not reading. You are missing the rich character development, the subtle foreshadowing, the profound poetry that is happening on this very page. Your eyes are scanning ahead, but you are not present with the story. You are not living it. True life, true peace, is to give your full, undivided attention to the page you are on, to read every word, to feel the texture of the paper, to be completely absorbed in the sentence that is unfolding in this eternal moment. This is your point of power. You cannot rewrite the previous chapters. You cannot magically know the ending. All of your creative power, all of your ability to choose and to act, exists right here, on this page, in this now. How do you find this elusive now? It is not elusive at all. It is simply overlooked. The primary portal to the now is your own body and its senses. Your mind can travel to the past or future, but your body is always, irrevocably, here. You cannot feel the chair you sat on yesterday. You cannot smell the flower you might see tomorrow. Your senses operate only in the present. Take a conscious breath. Feel the sensation of the air entering your nostrils, filling your lungs. That sensation is happening now. Listen to the sounds in the room around you without labeling them. Just hear the raw vibration. That is happening now. Feel the weight of your body, the contact it makes with the surface beneath it. That is now. The now is not a thought. It is a felt presence. When you bring your awareness into the now, you discover that problems cannot survive here. A challenge, a situation that needs to be dealt with, can exist in the now, but a problem in the psychological sense, the heavy, fear-laden, egoic story requires time. It requires the past for its regret and the future for its anxiety. A situation in the now is manageable. You simply do what you have to do, one step at a time. The same situation, when viewed through the lens of time, becomes an overwhelming problem. You drag the baggage of all your past failures into it and project 1,000 future catastrophes onto it. By stripping away the past and future, you are left with just the purity of the situation itself and your full, undivided power to meet it. To live in the now is to exit the chaotic dream of the mind and awaken to the vibrant reality of life itself. It is to find a place of deep, unshakable peace that is not dependent on circumstances being good. The peace of the now is the peace of the deep ocean, which remains still and serene regardless of the storms raging on the surface. The thoughts, the emotions, the events of your life are the surface weather. Your true nature, your true home, is the silent, aware stillness of the deep. As you learn to rest in this timeless dimension, something miraculous begins to occur. The solid story of you, the identity you have built over a lifetime, begins to soften. You realize that this self is a product of time. It is a character in the book, a bundle of memories from past chapters and projections about future ones. By stepping out of the stream of time, you begin to step out of the confines of this limited, story-based identity. You start to sense a deeper you, a formless, timeless awareness that is the witness of the story, not just a character within it. This realization is the gateway to the deepest liberation of all. It leads us to the very heart of the labyrinth, to the most feared and yet most freeing of all our tablets. The sixth tablet, the tablet of the shattered self. We are floating in the timeless ocean of the now, anchored in the only moment that is real. As we rest here, a strange and subtle process begins. The solid, familiar architecture of our own selfhood, the story of me that we have spent a lifetime constructing and defending, begins to feel less real. Its walls become transparent, its foundations tremble. We are approaching the most sacred, the most feared, and the most necessary passage in the human journey. We stand now before the sixth tablet, the tablet of the shattered self. This tablet is not a set of instructions. It is a mirror, but it does not reflect your face. It reflects the intricate, beautiful, and ultimately false mask you have mistaken for your face, and it offers the terrifying, liberating promise of letting it fall. Who are you? If you were asked to answer, you would begin to tell a story. I am, you would say, and follow it with a name, a profession, a role in a family, a collection of experiences, a list of likes and dislikes. I am a kind person. I am someone who has been hurt. I am a seeker of truth. I am not good enough. This collection of thoughts, memories, beliefs, and labels is what we call the ego, or the false self. It is a psychological construct, a survival mechanism your mind has built since childhood to navigate the world. It is a collage of past experiences and future anxieties, a phantom narrator that lives in the phantom realm of time. Its primary function is to maintain a sense of separation, to reinforce the illusion that I am here and the rest of the universe is out there. This egoic self is not an enemy. To declare war on the ego is simply the ego playing another one of its games. I am the one who will defeat the ego. It is not something to be violently destroyed, but a structure to be understood, to be seen through with compassionate awareness, and ultimately, to be transcended. It has served its purpose, like a booster rocket on a spacecraft. It was necessary to get you off the ground, but to enter the boundless orbit of true being, it must be allowed to fall away. To understand this process, imagine that at the very core of your being, there exists a flawless, luminous sculpture. It is made of pure light, pure awareness. It is perfect, whole, and has been there since before time began. This is your true self, your divine essence. However, at your birth, this magnificent sculpture was encased in a massive, rough block of marble. This block of marble is the ego. It is the raw material of your personality, your conditioning, your fears, your culture, your perceived identity. For years, you have lived believing you are this block of stone. You identify with its hardness, its weight, its jagged edges, its imperfections. You believe this is who you are. Life, then, reveals itself as the divine sculptor. And every challenge, every heartbreak, every failure, every moment of profound loss or deep suffering is the sculptor's hammer and chisel. When you lose a job, a relationship ends, or a belief system shatters, it feels like you are being broken. It feels like you are being destroyed. From the perspective of the marble block, this is true. A piece of it is being violently chipped away. A part of your identity is dying. The blow of the hammer echoes through you as pain, grief, and confusion. You cry out, "Why is this happening to me?" But from the perspective of the sculptor, You are not being broken, you are being revealed. With every sharp, painful blow, a piece of the excess stone is removed. A limiting belief about your worth is shattered. An identity you were clinging to for security is chipped away. A painful memory that defined your story is scraped off. What you are losing is not you. You are losing only that which obscures you. The pain is the friction between the false self that is being removed and the true self that is being liberated. The spiritual path is the conscious choice to stop resisting the chisel. It is the courageous act of saying yes to the sculpting process, of trusting the unseen hands of the sculptor, knowing that you are not being diminished but defined. This shattering of the ego is often known as the dark night of the soul. It is a period where the old story of me no longer makes sense, but a new understanding has not yet fully dawned. The familiar signposts of your identity have been removed, and you feel utterly lost in an unknown territory. Who am I if I am not my career? Who am I if I am not this person's partner? Who am I without my beliefs? The ego screams in terror during this phase, for its greatest fear is its own non-existence. It will tell you that you are going crazy, that you are disintegrating into nothingness. And you must be brave enough to let it. You must be willing to not know who you are. This not knowing is a sacred space. It is the space in which the false can fall away and the true can emerge. When you stop feeding the narrator in your head, when you stop compulsively telling the story of me, the story begins to run out of energy. The character you have played for so long walks off the stage, and for a terrifying, exhilarating moment, the stage is empty. This is the ultimate surrender. It is allowing the carefully constructed statue of your personality to be broken, trusting that it is only the plaster mold that is breaking, so that the living essence within can be born. It is the death of the caterpillar, which from its own perspective is a horrifying end, but from the perspective of the universe is the necessary beginning of the butterfly. What is left when the stone is gone? When the story ends? When the mask dissolves? You do not find an empty hole. You do not find annihilation. You discover that what you truly are was never the stone, but the space in which the stone appeared. You are the silent, deathless, changeless awareness that was patiently witnessing the entire drama of the ego's creation and dissolution. You are the stillness beneath the noisy thoughts. You are the peace that was mistaken for emptiness. The shattering of the self is not an end, but a homecoming. It is the end of the exhausting effort of pretending to be a small, separate fragment, and the beginning of resting in the vast, interconnected whole. It is the realization that you are not a wave, fearing its own disappearance. You are the entire ocean. The breaking of the wave on the shore is not its death. It is its joyful return to its own infinite nature. When the last fragment of the marble ego falls away, and the noise of the story of me finally quiets, you do not find a void of non-existence. You discover a void that is profoundly full. You find a vast, silent, and deeply peaceful spaciousness that was always here, hidden beneath the clamor of the personality. The shattering of the self does not lead to nothingness. It leads to everything. It leads you directly to the threshold of the seventh tablet, the tablet of the echoing void, where we will learn not to fear this sacred emptiness, but to rest in it as the fertile, creative womb from which all worlds are born. The hammering has ceased. The stone of the false self has been shattered and has fallen away like dust. The relentless, chattering story of me has finally grown quiet, and we find ourselves standing in a vast, open, silent space. To the conditioned mind, this space feels like a terrifying emptiness, a void of non-being, a stark and desolate landscape. But here, in the heart of this sacred emptiness, we discover the seventh tablet. It does not gleam with bright light, but shimmers with a dark, profound, and magnetic luminescence, like a star-filled night sky. This is the tablet of the echoing void. Its inscription is not written in letters, but in the silence between them. Its secret is this: The silence you have been taught to fear is the very womb of creation, and the nothingness you perceive is the source from which everything is born. Our entire society is a conspiracy against this sacred silence. From the moment we wake to the moment we fall into restless sleep, we are encouraged to fill every available space with noise. Music, podcasts, news, conversations, and most of all, the incessant internal monologue of our own thinking mind. We do this because the ego, the shattered self we have just explored, is terrified of emptiness. It defines itself by doing, by having, by thinking, by being something. To be faced with a moment of pure, unadulterated silence is, for the ego, a confrontation with its own death. And so, it runs. It distracts itself. It seeks stimulation. It does anything to avoid the vast, quiet truth that lies just beneath the surface of the noise. But we are here to stop running. We are here to turn and face this void. And we will discover that it is not a void at all. It is a plenum. It is not empty. It is an emptiness that is full of potential. It is the silent, intelligent, aware canvas upon which the entire universe is painted. It is the foundational stillness that underlies all motion, the primordial silence that gives birth to all sound. To enter this silence is to come home. To understand your relationship with this silence, imagine that your true nature, the boundless awareness that is you, is the sky. It is vast, open, limitless, and blue. It is eternally serene, spacious, and untouched by anything that happens within it. Now, imagine that the events of your life, your thoughts, your memories, your emotions, your sensations are the clouds. Clouds of every shape, size, and color drift through the sky. There are light, fluffy, white clouds of joy and happiness. There are dark, heavy, ominous storm clouds of grief, anger, and fear. Sometimes, the sky is clear and blue. At other times, it is completely obscured by a thick blanket of gray clouds. The fundamental mistake of human existence, the source of our deep-seated anxiety, is that we have been taught to believe that we are the cloud. When a dark storm cloud of sadness appears in our consciousness, we point to it and say, "I am sad." We contract our entire sense of being into the shape, the texture, and the mood of that single temporary weather pattern. We forget that we are the vast, unchanging sky in which the cloud is simply making a temporary appearance. When a beautiful white cloud of happiness drifts by, we cling to it desperately, knowing it is transient, and thus we introduce the fear of its passing even into our moments of joy. We suffer because we identify with the weather, forgetting that we are the sky. The path to peace is a radical shift in identification. It is the practice of consciously remembering that you are the sky, not the cloud. The sky does not fight the storm clouds. It does not try to push them away. To do so would be foolish and exhausting. The sky does not grasp at the beautiful sunny clouds, trying to hold them in place. It knows this is impossible. The sky simply allows. It provides the vast, open, unconditional space for all clouds to arise, to be, and to pass in their own time. Its own nature, its peace, its serenity, its spaciousness remains utterly unaffected by the drama of the weather. This is your true nature. You are the silent, spacious awareness in which all the thoughts and emotions of your life unfold. You are not your thoughts. You are not your feelings. You are the space for them. To realize this is to find an unshakable peace that exists right here, in the midst of any life situation. Even when your inner weather is a raging hurricane of emotion, the sky of your being remains behind it, perfectly calm and untouched. This silence, this sky-like awareness, is not a dumb, empty state. It is the very intelligence of the universe. We have been taught to seek answers by thinking harder, by analyzing more, by gathering more information. This is like asking the clouds to explain the sky. It is a futile exercise that only creates more clouds, more mental noise. True guidance, genuine intuition, and bolts of creative genius do not arise from the chattering mind. They arise from the silence between the thoughts. They are a whisper from the sky itself, not a debate amongst the clouds. In the deep quiet of your own being, you can hear the subtle, unmistakable voice of truth. It does not shout, it does not argue, it simply knows. To hear this voice, you must be willing to cultivate silence. This does not necessarily mean you must retreat to a mountaintop. You can practice being the sky anywhere. As you go about your day, begin to notice your thoughts and feelings as if they were clouds. A thought of worry drifts by. Instead of becoming it, simply notice it. Ah, a worry. Cloud is passing through the sky of my awareness. A feeling of irritation arises. Ah, here is a cloud of irritation. You are not judging the cloud or trying to get rid of it. You are simply shifting your perspective, your identification, from the object in consciousness to the space of consciousness itself. Rest as the sky. Feel the vast, open, peaceful spaciousness that is your background nature. Even if there are 1,000 clouds, the sky is still there. It is the context, not the content. By resting your attention in this background awareness, you stop feeding the clouds with your energy. Deprived of your belief and attention, they begin to lose their power. They become more transparent, and they pass more quickly. When you learn to abide as this silent, watchful presence, you become a clear channel. The frantic, egoic wanting, the desires born from a sense of lack begins to subside. In its place, a deeper, calmer, more powerful knowing begins to emerge from the stillness. This is the birth of true intention. It does not erupt from the noisy personality. It arises gracefully from the fertile emptiness of your core being. It is not a demand shouted at the universe. It is a quiet alignment with the creative impulse of the universe itself. From this fertile void, this silent, sky-like awareness, a blueprint can be drawn. A new reality can be seeded. This profound realization brings us directly to the threshold of our next great discovery. It leads us to the 8th tablet, the tablet of the unseen architect, where we will learn how to wield the silent, focused, and creative power of true, heart-centered intention. We have learned to abide in the great silence, the fertile, sky-like awareness that is our true nature. We have discovered that this is not an empty void, but a womb of infinite potential. From this pristine stillness, something new can now be born. Not the frantic, grasping desire of the ego, which is born from a sense of lack, but a clear, calm, and powerful creative impulse. This is the birth of true intention. It is this sacred act of creation that brings us to the 8th tablet, the tablet of the unseen architect. Its surface seems to show a divine blueprint, a cosmic design, and its teaching is the master key to conscious creation. Define your destination with absolute clarity, and then surrender the journey with absolute trust. Know what you wish to experience, and then release the how, the when, and the where to the master builder of the cosmos. This is a profound departure from how we have been taught to achieve our goals. The egoic mind believes it must control everything. It creates a goal, and then it immediately begins to micromanage the universe. It tries to figure out every step, manipulate every person, and force every outcome. It is filled with anxiety, constantly checking for progress, and falling into despair when its rigid plans do not unfold as expected. This is the path of struggle. It is the path of the amateur builder who thinks he knows more than the master architect. True intention arises from a different place entirely. It comes not from lack, but from fullness. It is not about trying to fill a hole in your life, but about choosing to give form to one of the infinite possibilities that already exists within the silent field of your own consciousness. It is a calm and sovereign choice. It is a clear declaration of a reality you choose to align with, and its power lies in a sacred division of labor between you and the universe. Your job is to focus on the what. The universe's job is to orchestrate the how. To grasp this, Imagine your heartfelt intention is a rare and precious seed. Let us say the seed is one of vibrant health or abundant prosperity. The silent, fertile field of pure awareness we have just explored is the soil. The first and most crucial step is to plant this seed with clarity. This means getting crystal clear on the what, and the what is always a feeling, an end state. Do not focus on the symbols, like money or a specific outcome. Focus on the feeling you believe those symbols will give you. What does the feeling of true, boundless prosperity feel like in your body? It feels like freedom, ease, security, generosity. What does the feeling of vibrant health feel like? It feels like energy, lightness, strength, and joy. You take this seed of feeling, and in your imagination, you plant it firmly in the soil of the now. You feel that reality as if it were already true. This is the sacred act of planting. Now, here is where the wisdom of the unseen architect becomes paramount. Once the seed is planted, the conditioned mind wants to dig it up every 5 minutes to see if it's growing. Is it working yet? I don't see any results. Maybe I'm doing it wrong. Maybe it's not possible for me. This doubt, this fear, this need to check on the process is the spiritual equivalent of a child pulling a seedling out of the ground to check on its roots. You will kill the very growth you desire. The wise gardener knows better. After planting the seed, he does not interfere with the mysterious, unseen process happening in the darkness of the soil. He trusts the innate intelligence of the seed. He knows that the tiny seed already contains the complete blueprint for the mighty oak tree. He does not need to shout instructions at it. He does not need to worry about the mechanics of root formation or photosynthesis. His job is not to control the process, but to create a nurturing environment for it. He waters the seed not with doubt, but with the life-giving water of faith. He shines upon it the sunlight of positive emotion, of continuing to feel the reality of the wish fulfilled. He trusts the seed, he trusts the soil, he trusts the process. The universe is this infinitely intelligent process. It is the unseen architect. It has a vantage point that your limited mind cannot possibly comprehend. It can see the entire cosmic web of connections, the infinitely complex tapestry of all lives and all events. When you impress upon it a clear intention, a finished blueprint of the feeling state you desire, the architect immediately gets to work. It begins to arrange reality, to pull threads, to orchestrate synchronicities, to construct what is often called a bridge of incidents, to lead you from your current state to the state you have imagined. This bridge may look nothing like you expect. This is where your trust is tested. You may lose a job, which feels like a disaster, only to be guided to a new career path that is far more aligned with your soul's purpose and leads to greater abundance. A relationship may end, causing you pain, only to clear the space for a connection that fulfills you in ways you couldn't have imagined. You may face delays, detours, and apparent obstacles. The ego will label these events as bad, or as proof that your intention is not working. But the wise creator knows that these are simply the unseen architect at work, laying the foundation, redirecting the plumbing, and moving walls to construct the reality you have asked for. Your job is not to judge the construction process. Your job is to keep holding the vision of the finished building. Release your desperate grip on the how. The how is not your business. Your obsession with the how is a statement of distrust to the universe. It is you telling the master architect that you don't believe it knows what it's doing. This distrust constricts the flow of creative energy. The moment you truly let go, the moment you say with genuine faith, I have defined the what, and I surrender the how with absolute trust, you will feel a profound sense of peace and relief. And in that state of peaceful surrender, you become a clear channel. The universe can now work through you and for you with breathtaking speed and elegance. Hold your vision. Feel its reality. Trust the process. Know that the seed is growing in the dark, unseen. Know that the architect is working from a blueprint far grander than you can see. Your only task is to remain faithful to the end result, to live in the feeling of the wish fulfilled, and to walk across the bridge of incidents with grace and gratitude, one step at a time, without needing to see the other shore. We now understand our divine role in creation, to be the one who chooses the destination, who feels the end result into being. And we understand the universe's role, to be the master strategist who handles all the details of the journey. But what is the most powerful and effective way to communicate our chosen destination to this grand architect? Do we beg and plead? Do we perform elaborate rituals? The universe responds not to neediness, but to the quiet confidence of knowing. This realization brings us to a more subtle and potent form of prayer, a method of communication that speaks the very language of reality. We are now ready for the 9th tablet, the tablet of the silent command, where we will learn to ask not as a beggar pleading for a handout, but to claim as a rightful heir to the kingdom. We have come to understand our sacred partnership with the cosmos. We are the ones who define the destination, the what, by choosing a state of being. The universe, the unseen architect, is the one who masterfully arranges the journey, the how. Now we arrive at the very heart of this divine communication. How do we place our order? How do we send our blueprint to the architect in a language it not only understands, but is compelled to obey? Here we find the 9th tablet. It is not etched with pleas, but with the quiet authority of solidified conviction. This is the tablet of the silent command. Its law will revolutionize your understanding of prayer, and it is this: to receive what you desire, you must stop asking for it. You must, instead, begin living from it. The universe does not respond to the language of words, but to the language of being. It mirrors not what you want, but what you are in consciousness. For generations, we have been taught to pray as beggars. We get on our knees from a state of lack and plead, "Please, God, grant me abundance. Please, universe, bring me a loving partner. I need to be healed." Every one of these prayers, though heartfelt, is a powerful affirmation of the very thing you do not want. When you plead for abundance, your entire being is vibrating with the feeling of not enough. You are screaming lack into the cosmic mirror. And the mirror, in its perfect, impersonal lawfulness, can only reflect more lack back to you. When you beg for love, you are broadcasting the frequency of loneliness. You are praying for your desire, which is the most powerful way to confirm its absence. The silent command is a complete reversal of this process. It is the prayer of assumption. It is the prayer of the heir, not the beggar. The heir does not plead for his inheritance. He knows it is his, and he carries himself with the quiet confidence of that knowing. To pray correctly is to shift your state of consciousness and assume the feeling of your wish already being a fact. You do not ask for it. You give thanks for it, from the feeling of it already being yours. Let us use the ancient metaphor of praying for rain. The farmer who stands in his parched field, feeling the hot sun on his neck, seeing the cracked earth, and pleading with the empty sky, "Please, let it rain," is cementing the reality of the drought with every fiber of his being. His prayer is a prayer of desperation. It is an affirmation of dryness. The true mystic, the master of reality, does not pray this way. He does not beg for rain. He performs the rain dance. But the dance is not for an external audience. It is an internal, imaginative act. He goes into his hut, closes his eyes, and he begins to feel the reality of rain. He smells the rich, earthy scent of petrichor that rises from the damp soil. He hears the gentle pitter-patter on the roof, growing into a steady, rhythmic drumming. He feels the sensation of cool, life-giving water splashing on his face and hands. In his imagination, he is not asking for rain. He is joyfully dancing in the muddy, glorious downpour. He is not affirming lack. He is embodying fulfillment. He is broadcasting the frequency of "rain is here" with such conviction that the universe, the unseen architect, must rearrange the elements to match his inner creative act. The world of form must conform to the world of imagination, when that imagination is saturated with faith. This is the silent command. It is the art of moving into the state of the wish fulfilled. The most fertile ground for this practice is the state just before sleep. In this drowsy, receptive state, the logical, skeptical conscious mind begins to relax its guard. The doorway to the subconscious, the vast, creative powerhouse that directs your life and communicates with the universal mind, is wide open. Here is the practice. First, define your desire not as a thing, but as a feeling state. Then, construct a short, simple, sensory-rich scene in your imagination which implies that this desire has already been fulfilled. The key is to imagine a scene that would take place after the fulfillment. If you desire a promotion, do not imagine getting the news. Imagine a friend shaking your hand and saying, "I was so thrilled to hear about your promotion." Feel the grip of their hand, hear their voice. Feel the quiet thrill of your accomplishment. If you desire healing, do not focus on the illness. Imagine yourself doing something you would do if you were already healed. Perhaps hiking a trail, feeling the strength in your legs, the easy rhythm of your breath. Once you have this short, simple scene, enter that drowsy state before sleep. Let go of the day. Relax your body. Then, begin to play this scene in your mind's eye. Loop it, over and over again, like a gentle lullaby. Do not force it. Simply allow it to play. The goal is to saturate the scene with so much sensory vividness and feeling that it begins to feel real. Feel the handshake. Smell the forest air. The more real it feels, the more deeply you are impressing this new reality upon your subconscious mind. The ultimate aim is to fall asleep while dwelling in this scene, to carry the feeling of the wish fulfilled with you into the mystery of sleep. You are planting the seed of your new reality in the most fertile soil imaginable. During your waking day, your task is to remember this inner reality. The world of your senses will present evidence of the old state. It will show you the cracked earth and the empty sky. You must not be swayed. This external world is merely a shadow, a reflection of past beliefs and assumptions. Your true creative act has already taken place in the only reality that matters, your own consciousness. You carry the secret feeling of the rain within you. You walk, talk, and act from the assumption that your desire is a finished fact, and you allow the unseen architect to build the bridge of incidents that will lead you to its physical manifestation. This is not a mental trick. It is a deep, spiritual discipline. It is the shift from pleading with an external power to activating the creative, divine power within you. You are the operant power in your life. The universe is a perfect, lawful mirror to your state of being. Stop sending it a reflection of your lack. Have the audacity to send it a reflection of your fulfillment. Dance your rain dance, feel your wish fulfilled, and command reality not with your voice, but with your silent, feeling-filled assumption. To stand on the dry, cracked earth of your current circumstances and yet feel the cool rain on your skin requires more than just imagination. It demands a specific quality of inner conviction. It requires a form of belief that is not a fragile hope easily shattered by doubt, but an unshakable inner knowing. It is a knowing so profound that it holds more weight than the evidence of your five senses. This potent, unwavering inner certainty has a name. It is the foundation upon which all miracles are built. It is the subject of our 10th tablet, the tablet of radical faith. We have learned the potent secret of the silent command, the sacred technology of assuming the feeling of the wish fulfilled. We understand now that we must have the spiritual audacity to dance for rain while our feet are still standing on cracked, dry earth. But what is it that allows us to perform this dance with an unwavering heart? What is the foundation upon which this creative act is built? We arrive now at the 10th tablet, the source of all power, the engine of all miracles. This is the tablet of radical faith. Its inscription dissolves the flimsy structures of hope and wishful thinking, and it is this: true faith is not the hope that the universe will grant your desires. True faith is the serene and unshakable knowing that what you have assumed in consciousness is already a fact. Let us be perfectly clear, for here lies a distinction that changes everything. Hope is a beggar. Faith is a king. Hope lives in the future, always looking ahead, wishing things were different. It is a fragile state, born of doubt. I hope this works is a subtle affirmation that you believe it might not. Hope is a flickering candle flame, easily extinguished by the first winds of contrary evidence. When the world does not immediately conform to your wishes, hope collapses into despair. Radical faith, however, does not live in the future. It lives in the eternal now. It is not a thought, it is a state of being. It is a deep, cellular conviction. It is the calm, quiet, and immovable, knowing that the reality you have created in your imagination, the only causal plane of existence, is the one and only truth. The external world, with all its seeming solidity, is merely a shadow, a delayed reflection of past states of consciousness. Faith is not waiting for the evidence to appear. Faith is the evidence. It is the evidence of things not yet seen by the physical eye. To truly understand this, imagine you are a tightrope walker. The life you desire, the health, the love, the pieces, a solid platform on the far side of a vast and terrifying chasm. The chasm below is the world of your five senses. It is the world of facts, of problems, of reasons to be afraid. It is your bank statement, your medical diagnosis, your current circumstances. The thin rope, stretched taut across this abyss, is your faith. It is the unwavering path of your assumption, the reality of your wish fulfilled. The master tightrope walker has one cardinal rule: never look down. To look down at the chasm is to engage with the world of fear and doubt. It is to give your attention to the problem. The moment he does this, he loses his balance, he begins to tremble, he falls. The master keeps his gaze fixed firmly on his destination. He does not hope to get there. He simply walks, his entire being focused on the reality of the platform on the other side. He trusts the rope beneath his feet. He becomes one with the act of walking. We must become this tightrope walker. Every day, the world of our senses will scream at us to look down. Our friends, our family, the news, our own rational mind will point to the chasm and say, "Be realistic, look at the facts. This is impossible." Radical faith is the sacred discipline of refusing to look down. It is the act of keeping your inner gaze, your feeling state, firmly locked on the reality of your destination. It is a declaration of loyalty to the unseen reality you have birthed in consciousness. It is trusting the rope of your assumption, even when the winds of doubt howl around you and the rope begins to sway. You do not deny the existence of the chasm, you simply refuse to give it your power, your focus, your creative energy. This is not delusion. To be delusional is to believe something that has no basis in reality. But you, as a conscious creator, have already established the basis. You have planted the seed. You have performed the rain dance. You have impressed the subconscious mind with a new truth. Now, your faith is simply an act of loyalty to that higher truth, patiently waiting for the shadow world of the senses to catch up. But there is an even deeper level of faith, a level that provides the ultimate safety net beneath the tightrope. The first level of faith is the belief that you will reach the other side. The deepest level of faith is the profound knowing that you will be okay, even if you fall. This is the faith that transcends circumstance entirely. It is the realization that you are not the tightrope walker, but the silent, spacious awareness watching the entire drama unfold. You are the sky, not the cloud. You, at your core, are indestructible. No outcome, no failure, no fall from the rope can ever harm the truth of who you are. When you attain this deeper faith, your creative acts are infused with a new lightness, a new power. You are no longer creating from a place of desperate neediness. You are creating from a place of joyful play. Your peace is no longer conditional on getting what you want. Your peace is rooted in your own being. If you reach the platform, it is a cause for celebration. If you fall from the rope into an unexpected series of events, it is also a cause for curiosity and trust, knowing that the unseen architect may have a different, even grander destination in mind for you. You are free from the tyranny of outcomes. This is the faith that moves mountains. It is a quiet, inner surrender to a higher intelligence, a loving trust in the process of life itself. It is the peace that passes all understanding. It is the firm ground upon which you can stand and command your reality, not with arrogance, but with the humble authority of one who knows they are a cherished child of the universe. When you are armed with this radical faith, this deep knowing that the architect is benevolent and that your own core essence is eternal and safe, you can finally turn and face the darkest, most painful parts of your life without flinching. You no longer need to run from your past wounds or your present pain. You can begin to see them not as random punishments or ugly scars that disfigure you, but as something else entirely. You can see them as marks of a sacred initiation. This courage, born of unshakable faith, allows us to approach our next, most intimate encounter. It allows us to unseal the 11th tablet, the tablet of the sacred wound, and to finally discover the brilliant, hidden light within our deepest darkness. Armed with the profound peace of radical faith, knowing at our core that we are eternally safe and held by a benevolent universe, we are finally granted the courage to journey into the most shadowed and tender landscape of all, our own pain. For lifetimes, we have run from this territory. We have numbed it, denied it, distracted ourselves from it, and buried it under layers of forced positivity. Now, we stop, we turn. We walk willingly into the heart of our own brokenness, not with fear, but with a new and sacred reverence. This brings us to the 11th tablet. It is not smooth and polished, but is etched with the beautiful, ragged, and authentic lines of a life fully lived. This is the tablet of the sacred wound, and its healing truth will change your past forever. The place where life has broken you most deeply is the very place where the universe intends to pour in the most light. Our culture teaches us to be ashamed of our wounds. We see them as defects, as evidence of our failure, as ugly scars that must be hidden at all costs. A failed marriage, a childhood trauma, a devastating betrayal, a period of deep depression, we treat these as marks of shame, private histories that make us flawed and unlovable. This belief is a heavy chain that keeps us tethered to a lifetime of suffering. Today, we break that chain. We are here to understand that your wound is not a punishment. It is not a mistake. It is not a sign of your brokenness. It is an initiation. It is a holy aperture, an opening that has been carved into the hardened shell of your ego to allow your soul to finally breathe. To understand this sacred alchemy, consider the creation of one of the world's most luminous treasures, the pearl. How does a pearl begin? It does not begin with perfection. It begins with an irritation. A sharp grain of sand, a tiny parasite, or some other foreign body breaches the protective shell of the oyster and lodges itself within its soft, tender flesh. It is a wound. It is an intrusion. It is a source of constant, grating pain. The oyster's peaceful existence has been violated. The oyster does not have hands to remove the irritant. It does not have a voice to cry out. It cannot fight the source of its pain. It has only one choice if it is to survive. It must transform its relationship with its wound. And so, it begins a slow, patient, and sacred creative act. It begins to secrete a beautiful, iridescent, and healing substance called nacre. It gently, lovingly coats the sharp edges of the grain of sand with this luminous liquid light. It wraps its wound in layer after layer of its own essence. It does not heal by expelling the pain, but by embracing it. It metabolizes its suffering, turning it into the very substance of its beauty. Year after year, this quiet, dedicated process continues. The oyster patiently covers its source of greatest pain with thousands of layers of shimmering grace. And what is the result? The source of its agony is transformed into its most glorious treasure. The magnificent, perfect pearl could not exist without the initial, painful wound. The wound was the catalyst for its beauty. The pain was the seed of its luminescence. Your deepest wound, the trauma that haunts you, the heartbreak that shattered you, the shame that has kept you small, is this grain of sand. It has lodged itself in your being. You cannot go back in time and prevent it. You cannot simply expel it by force of will. Your spiritual work, your sacred task, is to do as the oyster does. You must begin to coat this sharp, painful irritant with the nacre of your own consciousness. You must wrap it, layer by layer, in the shimmering substance of awareness. You must embrace it with gentle compassion. You must illuminate it with the light of understanding. You must, ultimately, learn to love the part of you that has been so deeply hurt. This is not a mental exercise. It is a profound act of self-love. It means allowing the feeling of the wound to arise in the safe space of your own presence, without the old story of blame and victimhood. You let the pain cloud of the past drift into the vast open sky of your awareness, and you hold it there, not with judgment, but with the tenderness of a mother holding a crying child. You do not try to fix it or silence it. You simply offer it the healing balm of your unconditional presence. You breathe into it. You allow it to be. This is the application of nacre. This is how you transform your pain into power. Your wound is your unique spiritual curriculum. It is not random. The specific nature of your pain is perfectly designed to be the catalyst for your specific genius. The wound of abandonment can become the seed of profound self-reliance and the ability to create true, unconditional belonging for yourself and others. The wound of not being seen or heard can become the catalyst for you to find your authentic voice and speak a truth that heals the world. The wound of failure can carve within you a deep well of humility and compassion that makes you a wise and gentle leader. Your wound is the chisel that carves out the space within you for your greatest gifts to reside. Where you are most sensitive is where you are most powerful. Your pain is what connects you to all of humanity. The person who has never suffered, who has never been broken open by life, lives in a shallow fortress. Their heart is defended, unable to feel true empathy. It is your wound that breaks down the walls of separation. When you see another person in pain, your own wound resonates in recognition. It says, "I know this country. I have walked this path." And from that shared, sacred space, true compassion is born. Your pain is not what separates you from others. It is the very thing that binds you to them. Therefore, stop hiding your wounds. Stop being ashamed of the places where life has broken you. They are not your weakness. They are the source of your strength, the birthplace of your compassion, the testament to your resilience. They are the cracks through which the light gets in. When we have the courage to perform this holy alchemy, to transform the grit of our personal pain into the pearl of our soul's wisdom, our entire relationship to our history changes. We look back at the timeline of our lives and we no longer see a jagged, ugly scar that we wish to erase. We see a shimmering, iridescent line of light, a line of profound beauty and meaning. We understand that the wound itself, once healed with love and transformed by awareness, becomes a focal point of our strength and a testament to our divinity. This leads us to look even more closely at the nature of our healed selves, to the ancient Japanese art of kintsugi, and to the powerful revelation waiting for us in our 12th tablet, the tablet of the golden scars. We have journeyed to the heart of our deepest pain, and there, like an oyster transforming a wound into a treasure, we have found not a void, but a pearl of wisdom. We have learned to coat the sharp grit of our past with the nacre of our own loving awareness. Now, we bring this precious transformed essence out into the light, and we arrive at the 12th tablet. It appears as a magnificent ceramic bowl, a vessel that was once shattered into 1,000 pieces, but has been meticulously reassembled with veins of shimmering, pure gold. This is the tablet of the golden scars. Its message is a triumphant celebration of your own resilience, and it sings this truth: you are not beautiful in spite of your brokenness. You are beautiful because of it. In the ancient tradition of Japan, there is an art form known as kintsugi, which means to join with gold. When a cherished piece of pottery breaks, it is not seen as ruined or worthless. It is not thrown away. Instead, it is treated with the utmost care and reverence. The broken pieces are carefully collected, and the artist begins a slow, meditative process of mending. They do not use invisible glue to hide the damage. Instead, they use a special lacquer mixed with powdered gold, silver, or platinum to lovingly piece the vessel back together. The philosophy of kintsugi is profound. It teaches that the breakage and repair are integral parts of the object's history, not something to be concealed. The cracks are not flaws. They are testament to a journey. The final, mended piece is considered infinitely more beautiful, more precious, and more resilient than it was in its original, unbroken state. The veins of gold are not a sign of weakness, but a map of its history, a shining tribute to its ability to endure, to break, and to become whole again in a new and more beautiful way. The scars are the most celebrated feature of the piece. You are this precious vessel. Your soul is this ceramic bowl, and life, with its inevitable challenges, its unexpected falls, and its heart-shattering impacts, has at times broken you. You have felt yourself shattered into 1,000 pieces, lying on the floor, believing you were ruined beyond repair, ready to be swept away and discarded. You have looked at your broken pieces, the trauma, the grief, the failure, the shame, and believed they made you worthless. Kintsugi teaches us a more sacred, more truthful way. The spiritual work we have been doing, the act of embracing our sacred wound, is the art of practicing kintsugi on our own soul. It is the act of getting down on our hands and knees and lovingly gathering the scattered shards of ourselves. It is the process of mixing the lacquer of our awareness with the powdered gold of our own self-love and compassion. And then, piece by piece, we begin to mend. We do not try to hide the cracks. We do not pretend the breaks never happened. We do the opposite. We choose to highlight the very lines where we were shattered. Your scars, the memory of your deepest heartbreak, the echo of your greatest failure, the lingering shadow of your traumathes, are your golden seams. They are not ugly marks to be covered with makeup or denial. They are lines of light, proving that you have lived, you have loved, you have risked, and you have survived. They tell the heroic story of a person who was broken open by life and had the profound courage to not only survive, but to put themselves back together with gold. When you learn to see yourself this way, shame dissolves and a deep, quiet pride takes its place. You are a masterpiece of resilience. Our modern culture worships a false, sterile, airbrushed ideal of perfection. It tells us that we should be flawless, unblemished, and perpetually happy. This impossible standard is a source of immense suffering. We compare our real, messy, beautifully broken lives to this artificial ideal, and we always find ourselves wanting. We hide our cracks, we fear our history, and we feel deeply alone in our imperfection. Kintsugi, and the wider Japanese aesthetic of wabi-sabi, offers us a compassionate and liberating alternative. It finds profound beauty in the imperfect, the impermanent, and the incomplete. It celebrates the authentic. A life without scars is a life that has not been truly tested. A heart that has never been broken is a heart that has never had the courage to truly love. A soul without a history of repair is a soul that has never known its own strength. Your unique pattern of golden scars is what makes you exquisitely, breathtakingly beautiful. It is the signature of your soul. It is what makes you, you. To wish them away is to wish away your own strength, your own wisdom, your own unique beauty. To try and hide them is to deny the world the gift of your authentic, resilient heart. To embody this truth is to wear your golden scars with a quiet dignity. It means you can own your story without being a victim of it. You can speak of your past challenges, not with the tremor of shame, but with the calm, resonant wisdom of a survivor who has found the gold within their deepest wound. It means you can look at another person's imperfections, their anger, their fear, their own brokenness, not with judgment, but with a deep and knowing compassion. You see their own golden seams, and you honor the journey that created them. This is the path of radical self-acceptance. It is the practice of looking in the mirror and truly loving the person you see, not in spite of their history, but because of it. It is tracing the lines of your life's story, the breaks and the repairs, and seeing it all as a sacred text. You would not tear a page out of a holy book, and you must not try to tear a chapter out of the holy book of your own life. Every page, every crack, every golden seam is divine. When you can finally see your own life as a priceless and unique work of kintsugi art, when you can look upon your own scars with love and reverence instead of shame, a miraculous shift occurs in your perception. You stop seeing other people as merely separate, flawed individuals you have to tolerate. You begin to see them as you see yourself, as fellow masterpieces of resilience. You look into their eyes, and you can sense their own hidden history of breakage and repair. You realize that every single person you meet is a mirror, reflecting back to you a different facet of your own beautifully broken and lovingly mended soul. This deep, heart-opening recognition of the self in the other is the foundation of true connection. It leads us directly to the doorway of the 13th tablet, the tablet of the mirror souls, where we will uncover the sacred truth that every relationship in our life is a divine assignment. Having learned to see our own life as a priceless work of kintsugi, a masterpiece made beautiful by the golden scars of our experience, we now lift our gaze. With a heart softened by self-acceptance, we look out upon the world of others. The harsh lens of judgment begins to dissolve, replaced by a gaze of deep and knowing compassion. This open-hearted posture allows us to approach the 13th tablet. It is not made of stone, but of a sheet of perfectly polished, living silver that reflects not just our own image, but the interconnected faces of all humanity. This is the tablet of the mirror souls. Its truth will forever change the way you navigate your relationships, and it is this: every single person you encounter is a sacred mirror, sent by the universe to show you a hidden aspect of yourself. This is a radical departure from the story of separation we are taught. We are conditioned to believe that we are isolated selves, and that other people are separate entities who exist either to please us or to antagonize us. We blame them for our pain, "You made me angry." We credit them for our joy, "You complete me." And we live our lives as victims or beneficiaries of their behavior. This belief is the foundation of all drama, conflict, and codependency. The truth is that no one outside of you can cause your emotional state. They can only act as a trigger that reveals what is already present within you. Every person is a messenger. Every relationship is an assignment. Imagine you are walking through a vast and sacred hall of mirrors. It is infinite. Every soul you have ever known or will ever know is one of the mirrors in this hall. Your parents, your children, your greatest love, your worst enemy, the cashier at the market, the driver who cuts you off in traffic. Each one is a mirror, positioned at a specific angle to reflect a part of you back to yourself. Some of these mirrors are challenging. They are like the distorting mirrors at a carnival. You look into them, and they reflect back a twisted, ugly version of yourself that you despise. The person who ignites in you a white-hot, uncontrollable rage is simply a mirror reflecting an unhealed anger that has been dormant within you. The person whose criticism makes you feel small and worthless is a mirror reflecting your own deep-seated lack of self-worth. The person whose neediness drains you is a mirror showing you your own poorly defined boundaries. The ego's immediate reaction is to attack the mirror. It shouts, "You are wrong. You are the problem. How dare you show me such an ugly reflection?" We try to break the mirror, to punish it, to run from it, or to force it to show us a more pleasing image. This is the source of all conflict. But the path of wisdom is to stand still before that challenging mirror. It is to take a breath, look at the distorted reflection, and have the courage to whisper, "Thank you for this information. What part of me is being activated right now? Where does this feeling live in my own body? What wounded part of myself is crying out for my own love and attention?" The other person is not the cause of your feeling. They are the catalyst that has brought the feeling up from your own depths to be seen and healed. Then there are the glorious mirrors, the ones that reflect back your own light so brightly it takes your breath away. The person you admire for their incredible courage, their boundless creativity, or their profound wisdom is a mirror showing you the very same qualities that lie waiting within you, ready to be owned. You are admiring your own unrealized potential. The person you fall deeply in love with, the one who seems to be your other half, is a divine mirror reflecting your own beauty, your own divinity, your own capacity for love. You are not so much falling in love with them as you are falling in love with yourself through them. The beauty you see in them is your own. This is why heartbreak is so painful. It is not just the loss of a person, it is the removal of a mirror that was showing you a beautiful part of yourself. The healing process is the journey of realizing that you do not need that specific mirror to see your own light. The beauty it reflected was always yours, and you can learn to see it in your own reflection. No encounter is an accident. The universe, in its infinite intelligence, gives you the precise mirrors you need for the next stage of your soul's evolution. The most difficult relationships are often with our greatest teachers. They are the master mirrors, the ones with the courage to show us our most deeply buried shadows, the places we most desperately need to bring into the light. To flee from a challenging relationship without learning its lesson is to guarantee that the universe, in its patient love, will simply send you another mirror in a different form to present the same lesson over and over until it is learned. The purpose of any relationship is not, ultimately, to make you happy. The purpose is to make you conscious. True, lasting happiness is a beautiful byproduct of that consciousness. This requires taking 100% responsibility for every feeling and reaction you have. It means the end of all blame. You can no longer say, "He made me angry." You must learn to say, "When he did that, a feeling of anger arose within me." This simple shift in language brings the power back from the external world and places it firmly in your own hands. It is the end of victimhood. This does not mean you must tolerate abusive or harmful behavior. Absolutely not. You can and should walk away from a mirror that is reflecting harm, but you walk away differently. You walk away with the lesson, not with the blame. You can say, "Thank you for this reflection. It has shown me that I do not value myself enough to protect my own peace. I will now learn that lesson, and I release you with gratitude." And then you lovingly remove that mirror from your hall. When you truly begin to live this truth, your entire world transforms. Every interaction becomes an opportunity for self-discovery. The person who annoys you becomes a teacher. The person who inspires you becomes a confirmation. You move through the world with a new sense of peace and curiosity, knowing that this grand hall of mirrors is designed for one purpose, and one purpose only, to help you fall more deeply in love with your own soul. As you become adept at reading these reflections, you realize that all of your relationships are, ultimately, a sacred dialogue with yourself. This leads to a profound and pivotal question. Who are you when there are no mirrors around? Who are you when you are completely and utterly alone? Your ability to connect authentically with others is predicated on your ability to first connect authentically with your own self in solitude. This brings us to the quiet, inner chamber of the 14th tablet, the tablet of sacred solitude, where we will learn the crucial and life-altering difference between the pain of loneliness and the profound power of being alone. Having walked the great hall of mirrors and recognized every other person as a reflection of our own soul, the journey inevitably turns inward. Away from the endless reflections, away from the gaze of the other, we enter a quiet, simple, and profound inner chamber. Here, we find the 14th tablet. It is unadorned, bearing no intricate carvings, for its wisdom is found not in complexity, but in presence. This is the tablet of sacred solitude. Its inscription draws a line between a state of profound suffering and a state of profound power, and the inscription is this: loneliness is the poverty of self. Solitude is the richness of self. These two words, loneliness and solitude, are often used interchangeably, yet they represent two entirely different universes. Loneliness is a state of lack. It is a painful, gnawing hunger for the presence of another. It arises when we are alone, because we have been conditioned to believe that our sense of worth, our entertainment, our very identity, comes from the outside world, from the mirrors. Loneliness is the discomfort we feel when the distractions stop and we are left in the stark, silent room of our own being. It is a fear of the quiet. It is a fear of our own company. In a state of loneliness, we are like a beggar rattling an empty cup, hoping someone, anyone, will come along and put something in it to make us feel whole. Sacred solitude, however, is a state of fullness. It is not defined by the absence of others, but by the deep and joyful presence of oneself. It is a chosen and cherished state. It is a deliberate homecoming. Solitude is the act of lovingly closing the door to the noisy marketplace of the world so that you can finally hear the whispers of your own soul. It is the richness of your own company, the comfort of your own presence. In solitude, you are not a beggar with an empty cup. You are a sovereign king or queen, peacefully surveying the vast and beautiful kingdom of your own inner world. To understand the power of solitude, consider a great tree. If that tree grows in a dense, crowded forest, it must constantly compete for resources. Its branches become contorted, twisting and reaching for any available sliver of sunlight. Its roots must fight for space and water. Its growth is often stunted, its full potential compromised by the constant struggle and proximity of others. Now, imagine that same tree is given the gift of an open field. It stands alone, with endless space in every direction. What happens? It can now stretch its branches as wide as its nature intends, growing into a magnificent, symmetrical, and breathtaking form. But more importantly, without the competition at the surface, it can send its roots down deep, deep into the cool, dark, silent earth. It can anchor itself to the bedrock. It can find hidden aquifers of nourishment that other trees will never reach. It becomes strong, stable, majestic, and utterly self-sufficient. It is not lonely. It is complete. Your soul is this tree. A life lived in constant, compulsive connection to others, a life without meaningful solitude, is like being that tree in the crowded forest. You are always reacting, always performing, always seeking the light of external validation. But when you give yourself the gift of sacred solitude, you are giving your soul the open field it needs to grow. In the quiet, you can finally stretch the branches of your mind and explore your own ideas without interruption. And most crucially, you can send the roots of your awareness down deep, past the surface-level chatter of the ego, into the silent, nourishing soil of your own being. It is in this sacred solitude that you find your own source. You become unshakable. Why then do we fear it so? We fear being alone because when the outer noise ceases, the inner noise begins. We are left, finally, with ourselves. We are left with the untended garden of our mind, the chaotic thoughts, the unfelt emotions, the anxieties we have successfully kept at bay with busyness and distraction. Solitude holds up a mirror that we cannot turn away from. But to cure the fear of solitude, you must not run from the room. You must stay. You must have the courage to sit in the quiet and simply allow the inner storm to pass, to watch the clouds of boredom, of anxiety, of sadness as they drift through the sky of your awareness, knowing that you are the sky, not the clouds. It is in this space that you truly meet yourself, and you make the most profound discovery possible, that you are wonderful company, You discover that beneath the noisy ego, there is a silent, intelligent, and deeply peaceful presence. You discover your own wisdom, your own creativity, your own humor. You learn to be your own best friend. This practice of embracing solitude is the most critical prerequisite for healthy relationships. If you cannot be happy alone, you will never be truly happy with someone else. You will simply use them as a shield against your own inner emptiness. A relationship born from loneliness is not a connection. It is a codependency. You will unconsciously demand that the other person fill your emptiness, entertain you, and validate your existence. This is an impossible burden to place on another human being, and it is the source of endless conflict and disappointment. But when you have cultivated a rich inner life in solitude, when you have learned to be a wellspring of your own peace and joy, you can enter into relationships from a place of wholeness and freedom. You no longer need anyone. This does not mean you do not love anyone. It means you are free to love without attachment, without neediness, without fear. Your connection with another becomes a joyful choice, not a desperate strategy. You are not two half cups trying to make a whole. You are two full cups, overflowing and sharing your abundance with each other. Therefore, cherish your time alone. Reclaim it as a sacred and necessary practice. Turn off the phone, close the laptop, go for a walk in nature by yourself. Sit in a quiet room and simply breathe. At first, it may feel uncomfortable. Stay with it. This discomfort is the sign of a great healing. It is the detoxification of a soul that has been overstimulated by the world. Beyond that initial discomfort lies a landscape of profound peace, clarity, and self-possession. When you have cultivated this rich inner world of sacred solitude, when you have become the great tree with roots so deep that you draw all the nourishment you need from your own soul, you will find that you are overflowing. You are no longer an empty vessel seeking to be filled, but a full fountain spilling over with energy, peace, and love. This natural state of inner abundance leads to a completely new way of interacting with the world, a new and selfless form of generosity. This overflowing of your cup brings us directly to the 15th tablet, the tablet of detached giving, where we will discover the supreme joy of giving not to get, but simply because it is our nature to overflow. Having filled our own cup to overflowing in the deep well of sacred solitude, we find ourselves in a new state of being. We are no longer defined by a sense of lack, but by a feeling of profound inner fullness. This natural abundance seeks expression. It wishes to pour forth. This effortless overflowing of our own being brings us to the 15th tablet. It feels warm and radiant to the touch, pulsing with a gentle and unconditional generosity. This is the tablet of detached giving. Its wisdom reveals the secret to creating effortless grace and flow in your life, and it is this: the highest form of giving is not a transaction, it is a transmission. It is the simple, joyful radiation of your own inner state of being. Our world has taught us to think of giving as a transaction, an exchange rooted in the logic of the marketplace. This is the giving of the ego. It operates on a principle of, I give you this so that I can get that. The that we seek may be tangible, like a returned favor or a payment. More often, it is intangible. We give our time, our energy, or our resources in the hopes of receiving love, appreciation, validation, or loyalty in return. We may even give simply to receive the inner feeling of being a good and generous person. There is always an invisible string attached, a subtle or not so subtle expectation of a return on our investment. This transactional giving, because it is born from a sense of lack, is the source of immense suffering. When our expectations are not met, when the string we have attached is not pulled in the way we want, we fall into bitterness and resentment. After all I have done for you becomes our silent or spoken mantra. We feel depleted, used, and unseen. We keep a secret, internal tally sheet of who owes us what, and our relationships become a complex and exhausting series of debts and credits. Detached giving is a radical departure from this painful cycle. It is the giving of the soul. It arises not from a place of lack, but from a place of absolute fullness. It is what happens naturally when you have learned to be your own source. The act of giving is no longer a strategy to get something. The act of giving becomes its own reward, its own joy. There are no strings attached, because you do not need to pull on anyone for your own sense of wholeness. You are already whole. To understand this, consider the sun. The sun pours forth an almost unimaginable torrent of light, warmth, and life-sustaining energy in every single moment. It gives this energy freely, lavishly, and unconditionally to all of existence. Does the sun check to see which planets are worthy of its warmth? Does it get resentful when a passing cloud temporarily blocks its rays from reaching a field of flowers? Does it demand that the flowers turn towards it and say thank you before it will shine on them again? Of course not. The sun does not shine in order to get a return on its investment. The sun shines because it is a star, and the nature of a star is to shine. Its giving is not a calculated action. It is the effortless and constant radiation of its own magnificent essence. To practice detached giving is to learn to be like the sun. It is to give your kindness, your presence, your wisdom, or your resources, not as a calculated means to an end, but as a natural extension of your own inner light. You give simply because you are full, and it is the nature of fullness to overflow. But what of depletion? The egoic mind, rooted in fear and scarcity, will immediately ask, if I give without expecting a return, will I not be drained? Will I not be left with nothing? This is a misunderstanding of a fundamental law of the universe, the law of circulation. The universe abhors a vacuum and thrives on constant dynamic flow. Energy is meant to move. When you give freely, from the heart, without attachment, you are not depleting yourself. You are making yourself into a clear and open channel for the abundance of the universe to flow through you. The energy, the love, the abundance you give out must return to you in order to maintain the perfect balance of the cosmos. This is an immutable law. Bhutan, this is the secret that liberates you from resentment. It may not return from the direction you expect. You may give the gift of your patient, loving presence to a friend in crisis, expecting nothing back from them. The universe, honoring the law of circulation, may then return that energy to you a week later through an unexpected kindness from a total stranger or a sudden creative insight that solves a problem you've been struggling with. To give to one person and demand the return from that same person is to build a dam in a tiny tributary of the great river of life. You restrict the flow. To give freely to anyone and everyone your heart is called to, and to detach completely from the source of the return is to demolish all dams and allow the entire magnificent river of cosmic abundance to flow through your life in miraculous and unexpected ways. Trust the law of circulation, not the specific human transaction. Broaden your understanding of what it means to give. It is not just about money. Some of the most potent gifts are energetic. When you feel you have nothing tangible to offer, you can always offer the gift of your presence, your full, undivided, non-judgmental attention. This is one of the rarest and most healing gifts in our distracted world. You can give the gift of a genuine compliment, a word of encouragement, a smile. You can give the gift of forgiveness, which is the act of releasing someone, and most importantly yourself, from the energetic prison of a past grievance. You can give the gift of simply holding a peaceful, loving state of being, which silently radiates from you like the warmth of the sun and benefits everyone you encounter. Begin to practice this in small ways. Give a compliment without needing one back. Do a favor and then consciously release any expectation of repayment. Let go of a past resentment as a gift to your own peace. Notice the joy that arises from the pure act of giving itself. This joy is the universe's immediate repayment. It is the feeling of aligning yourself with the generous, overflowing nature of life itself. This sublime principle of detached giving reveals a deeper, more fundamental law of the cosmos, that every outflow of energy must, by law, create a corresponding inflow. The universe is a perfect system of balance and feedback. Every action, every word, every thought is not an isolated event that disappears into nothingness. It is a cause, a vibration, a ripple sent out into the cosmic pond that must eventually return to its source. This flawless and impersonal system of universal justice and energetic return brings us to the threshold of the 16th tablet, the tablet of the karmic echo, where we will explore the profound and often misunderstood law of karma. Having come to understand the perfect, impersonal, and ultimately benevolent justice of the karmic echo, we see our lives in a new light. We realize that this entire world is a divine feedback system, a grand classroom designed for the evolution of our soul. Every experience, whether joyful or painful, is an echo, a lesson, a teacher. This profound realization inevitably leads to the most human of all questions, the one that whispers in the quiet chambers of the heart, late at night. Why? What is the purpose of this cosmic classroom? What great task am I meant to accomplish? What am I supposed to be doing with this one precious life? In our search for this ultimate answer, we arrive at the 17th tablet. It does not contain a complex map, a detailed instruction manual, or a grand career path. Instead, its surface is remarkably simple, glowing with a quiet, steady, and authentic light from within. This is the tablet of the soul's purpose, and its truth is designed to liberate you from a lifetime of anxious striving. For its secret is this: your purpose is not something you must go out and find, do, or achieve. Your purpose is simply to be, in this moment, what you already, at your core, truly are. This is a radical departure from everything the world has taught you about purpose. The ego believes that purpose is a destination, a grand achievement, a title on a business card. It tells you that your purpose is to become a doctor, to write a great novel, to be a famous artist, to start a successful company, or to be a perfect parent. This external, goal-oriented view of purpose creates a state of perpetual anxiety. It turns life into a frantic search, a race against time. It whispers that you are not yet enough, that you are falling behind, that you might miss your one big chance. It is the source of the gnawing feeling that you are not living up to your potential. But the soul knows a deeper truth. The soul's purpose is not a what, it is a how. It is not a specific job, it is a specific state of being. Your true purpose is to bring the unique quality of your own essence, the unique fragrance of your own consciousness, to whatever you are doing. Your purpose is not the destination you are striving for. It is the quality of light you are shining on the path right now. To understand this, consider a wildflower growing in a high mountain meadow. What is the purpose of this flower? Is its purpose to be admired by a passing hiker? Is its purpose to provide nectar for a bee? Is its purpose to one day be picked and placed in a beautiful vase? While all of these things may happen as a result of its existence, they are not its core purpose. The flower's purpose is not external, it is internal. Its one, true, and profound purpose is simply to bloom. Its purpose is to fully and completely express its own unique flowerness. It is to draw nourishment from the soil and water. It is to turn its face towards the warmth of the sun. It is to courageously unfold its petals in the precise color, shape, and pattern that is its unique nature. Its purpose is to be a flower, with its whole being, for the pure, unadulterated joy of being a flower. It blooms with this same quiet integrity, whether it finds itself in a vast meadow admired by many, or in a lonely crack on a cliffside where no human eye will ever see it. Its purpose is not fulfilled in the outcome, but in the moment-to-moment expression of its own essence. You are this flower. For years, you have been anxiously scanning the horizon, believing your purpose was a prestigious job in a famous garden, or a role that would win you the admiration of others. You have been looking outside of yourself for the answer. But your true purpose, the only one that will ever bring you peace, is simply to bloom. It is to be the most authentic, vibrant, and fully expressed version of yourself right here, right now. It is to bring your unique essence, your soul's fragrance, to the simplest of tasks. How do you discover this essence? You do not find it by thinking, but by feeling. Ask yourself, what activities make me feel most alive? What makes me lose all track of time? When do I feel most like my true self? It may be when you are creating, when you are helping another, when you are deep in nature, when you are solving a complex problem, or when you are bringing order to chaos. The activity itself is just the pointer. The true clue is the feeling state you inhabit during that activity. Is it a feeling of expansive joy, of deep peace, of fierce creativity, of loving compassion, of quiet steadfastness? That feeling, that quality of being, is the fragrance of your soul. That is your purpose. Your work, then, is not to find the perfect job. Your work is to bring that quality of being, your unique fragrance, to the job you have. If your essence is peace, your purpose is to be the peace in your office, to bring a peaceful presence to your family dinner, to wash the dishes with a peaceful heart. If your essence is joy, your purpose is to let that joy radiate from you during a difficult meeting, or to share it with the clerk at the grocery store. This does not mean you become passive, or that your outer life ceases to matter. It is quite the opposite. When you stop chasing a doing and focus instead on a being, the universe begins to work for you in magical ways. When you focus on blooming, on radiating your authentic essence, you become a powerful magnetic force. The right doing, the right career, the right relationships, the right opportunities will be drawn to you effortlessly, because they are a vibrational match to the truth of who you are being. The flower that blooms most fully and vibrantly is the one the bee cannot resist. You do not have to chase your calling when you are busy being your calling. Let go of the immense pressure you have placed upon yourself to find your purpose. You can't find what you already are. You can only let go of the false ideas that are obscuring it. Your purpose is not a grand, singular event in the future. It is a continuous unfolding in the present. It is in the quality of your attention as you listen to a friend. It is in the integrity with which you complete a task at work. It is in the kindness you show to yourself when you make a mistake. Your purpose is to be the light you are, wherever you are. Just bloom. When you release the desperate need to find a purpose and instead embrace the simple joy of being your purpose, you step into a new and powerful role. You cease to be a frantic seeker, desperately looking for a script to follow. You become the author of the script. You become the painter of the canvas, the sculptor of the stone. Every moment, every breath, becomes a conscious act of divine self-expression. This realization that your life itself is your greatest work of art brings us to the 18th tablet, the tablet of the divine artist, where we will learn to treat every day as a sacred opportunity to create beauty. Having awakened to the profound truth that our purpose is not a destination to be found, but a state of being to be embodied, we step into a new and exhilarating role. We are no longer frantic seekers, searching for a script that tells us how to live. We are the authors of the script. We are no longer lost travelers looking for a map. We are the cartographers, drawing the map with every conscious breath. This realization brings us to the 18th tablet. It is not a tablet of stone, but a vibrant, empty canvas, shimmering with infinite potential. This is the tablet of the divine artist. Its truth empowers you to transform the mundane into the magical, and it is this: your life is your masterpiece. Stop trying to find the meaning of your life and start creating it. For most of our lives, we have treated our existence as a problem to be solved, a test to be passed, or a burden to be endured. We live from a place of obligation, of conformity, of fear. We follow the paths laid out for us by others. We adopt their beliefs. We strive for their definition of success. This is the equivalent of being a paint-by-numbers artist. dutifully and mechanically filling in the spaces of a picture that someone else has drawn for you. The result may be neat and acceptable, but it is lifeless. It is a copy. It is devoid of soul. The path of the divine artist is the path of authentic creation. It is the conscious and deliberate choice to see your life not as a problem, but as a poem, not as a test, but as a dance. Every day upon waking, you are not faced with a list of obligations, but with a fresh, empty canvas. The universe hands you the palette and the brushes, and it whispers, "Astonish me." The tools of your art are always with you. The pristine canvas is the eternal present moment. This very now, clean and unmarked by what came before. The paints on your palette are your emotions, your feelings, your states of being. You have every color imaginable, from the dark, brooding indigo of sorrow to the brilliant, explosive yellow of pure joy, from the calm, healing green of peace to the fiery crimson of passion. The brushes you use are your choices, your thoughts, your words, and your actions. Every choice is a brushstroke upon the canvas of the now. Look at your life. What kind of painting are you creating? Are you using the same dull, muddy colors of fear, resentment, and boredom day after day? Are your brushstrokes timid, hesitant, and apologetic, always trying to stay within the lines you think others have drawn for you? Or are you willing to be bold? Are you willing to dip your brush in the vibrant, luminous colors of gratitude, of courage, of love? Are you willing to make a bold, sweeping stroke of kindness, a delicate, intricate detail of focused presence, a wild, joyful splatter of laughter? You are the artist. You choose the colors. You direct the brush. To deepen this understanding, imagine that you are a sculptor, but your chosen medium is not marble or clay, which are meant to last. Your chosen medium is ice. Every morning, the universe delivers to your studio a perfectly clear, magnificent block of ice. This is your day. You are given your tools, your chisel and hammer end. You have a vision in your heart. You begin to work. With focused attention and loving skill, you chip and carve and smooth, and a form of breathtaking beauty begins to emerge from the block. You create a testament to your spirit, a sculpture of light and form. But you, the ice sculptor, work with a profound understanding. Your masterpiece will not last. This day, this sculpture is transient. By nightfall, it will have begun to melt, its sharp edges softening, its form slowly returning to water, to formlessness, ready to be frozen into a new, fresh block for tomorrow. Does the master ice sculptor despair because his work is impermanent? He falls in love with the process of sculpting. He lives for the crisp, satisfying feel of the chisel striking the ice. He finds joy in the way the morning light catches a newly carved facet. He is deeply present with the creative act itself, knowing that the joy is not in possessing a permanent monument, but in the sacred moment-to-moment dance of creation. Your life is this ice sculpture. For too long, you have been obsessed with the final product, with creating a grand legacy, a permanent monument to your existence that will be admired for ages. This obsession with the result has robbed you of the joy of the process. You have not been enjoying the feeling of sculpting your day. The tablet of the divine artist invites you to fall in love with the process. Find the beauty in the living, in the making, in the feeling of the chisel in your hand right now. Create the most beautiful day you can, knowing it will melt away, and trust that you will be given a fresh block of ice tomorrow. Most importantly, the divine artist never copies the work of another. You may admire other masterpieces, you may learn from the techniques of other artists, but to try and replicate their work is to betray your own soul. The world has already seen their masterpiece. What the world is waiting for, what the universe is longing for, is the art that only you can create. Your unique combination of experiences, your golden scars, your soul's specific fragrance, these are the elements of a style that has never been seen before. Do not insult your soul by creating a second-rate copy of someone else's life. Have the courage to be an original. Paint the strange, beautiful, and unique painting that is you. This is your liberation from comparison. Your journey is not to be better than anyone else. It is simply to be more fully yourself. When you stand before your canvas each morning, your only question should be, what truth, what beauty, what love wishes to be expressed through me today? And then you pick up your brush and you begin. You paint your workday with the color of integrity. You paint your conversations with the color of deep listening. You paint your solitude with the color of peaceful contemplation. You paint your meals with the color of gratitude. When you embrace your role as the divine artist, you understand that there is no finished painting. There is no point at which you will lay down your brushes and declare, "It is done. I am complete." The joy is in the endless act of creation itself. The art is in the constant process of becoming, of adding new colors, of trying new techniques, of expressing an ever-deepening truth. This realization that life is not a race to a static finish line, but an infinite, unfolding spiral of growth. And creation brings us to the 19th tablet, the tablet of ceaseless becoming, where we will release the heavy burden of perfection and fall in love with the sacred journey of our own eternal evolution. Having fully embraced our sacred role as the divine artist, finding joy not in a finished product but in the creative process of sculpting each day, we come to a liberating and profound understanding of our own spiritual path. We see that life is not about arriving at a final, perfect state. It is about the beauty of the journey itself. This realization brings us to the 19th tablet. It is not a static object, but appears to be a living, breathing, spiraling galaxy held in miniature form, constantly and gracefully unfolding. This is the tablet of ceaseless becoming. Its truth is designed to free you from the tyranny of perfectionism and the anxiety of arrival. And its law is this: you are not a project to be completed. You are a universe to be explored. Enlightenment is not a destination. It is the direction of travel. For as long as you have been on a conscious path, the ego has treated your spiritual growth as another project, another goal to be achieved. It takes the infinite, boundless mystery of awakening and turns it into a finite, linear race. It creates a mental image of an enlightened person, someone who is perpetually calm, never gets angry, and has all the answers, and then it constantly judges you for not having reached that impossible ideal. It whispers, "You are still not there yet. You still have so much work to do. Look how much more spiritual that other person is." This egoic striving for a future state of perfection is the most subtle and stubborn trap on the spiritual path. It is the very thing that keeps you from being present with the perfection of your own unfolding, right here, right now. Today, we lay down this heavy burden. We cease to be seekers of a future state, and we begin to be explorers of our present one. To understand your true nature, consider the universe itself, the great, sprawling galaxies, the incandescent nebulae, the billions of stars. They are not static. The universe is in a state of constant, glorious, and accelerating expansion. It is not expanding towards a final, perfect end state. It is not trying to get somewhere. The expansion itself is its intrinsic nature. Its ceaseless becoming is its state of being. You are a perfect microcosm of this macrocosm. You are not a fixed entity designed to reach a state of completion. You are a process. You are a universe of consciousness. And your very nature is to perpetually expand, to know yourself more deeply, to love yourself more fully, and to express yourself more authentically. To seek a final, static state of enlightenment is to fight against the fundamental current of your own cosmic nature. It is like asking a great river to please stop flowing because you want to build a permanent house in the middle of it. It is asking a galaxy to please stop expanding because the vastness makes you feel unsettled. The true path is to fall in love with your own expansion. It is to celebrate the fact that there will always be more to learn, more to feel, more to understand, more to become. This shifts your entire orientation from one of anxious striving to one of joyful curiosity. The question changes from the ego's stressful demand, Why am I not there yet? To the soul's curious whisper, I wonder what I will discover next. Think of a serpent shedding its skin. It does not shed its skin once in its life and then declare, I am now the perfect, final version of a serpent. The shedding of the old is a natural, recurring process that allows for its continued growth. Life is a series of these sheddings. We are meant to outgrow our beliefs, our identities, our ways of being. Each time we shed an old skin, we are not failing. We are succeeding. We are allowing for the next, more expansive version of ourselves to emerge. Each awakening is not the final awakening. It is the perfect awakening for this particular stage of our journey. When you embrace this, you can finally offer yourself boundless compassion. You are not a failed spiritual seeker because you still feel anger or fear at times. You are a perfect, expanding universe learning about the energy of anger, learning about the energy of fear. Every so-called mistake or step backward is not a deviation from the path, it is the path itself. A spiral, when viewed from the side, can look like you are going up and down, sometimes returning to a place you have been before. But when viewed from above, you can see that you are never in the same place twice. You are always spiraling upwards, to a new and higher vantage point. This releases you from the need to have all the answers. The divine artist does not need to know how the painting will end. She just needs to be present with the current brushstroke. The explorer does not need to have the entire continent mapped out. He just needs to be aware and awake as he takes the next step into the unknown. Fall in love with the questions. Find the sacredness in not knowing. The mystery is not a problem to be solved. It is a reality to be savored. When you live from this place of ceaseless becoming, you become more dynamic, more flexible, more alive. You are no longer brittle, trying to defend a fixed and perfect identity. You are fluid, like water, able to adapt and flow with the ever-changing landscape of life. You find joy, not in certainty, but in discovery. Your life is no longer about proving your worth, but about exploring your worth. And you find that your worth, like the universe itself, is infinite and ever-expanding. This is the key to eternal youthfulness of spirit. It is the understanding that there is no finish line. The game is infinite. And the point of an infinite game is not to win, but to keep playing with as much joy, creativity, and love as possible. You are here to enjoy the ride, the unfolding, the glorious and sometimes messy process of your own becoming. As we learn to embrace our nature as a ceaselessly becoming being, like an ever-expanding galaxy, a final, profound realization begins to dawn. We look at our own unfolding consciousness, and we look out at the unfolding universe, and the line between the two becomes impossibly thin. We see that the expansion of our own awareness is inseparable from the expansion of all consciousness. We feel our own heartbeat as the rhythm of the cosmos. This intimate realization that there is no true separation, that all things are simply different aspects of one grand, unified, and evolving dance, brings us to the final threshold of our journey. We are now ready to perceive the ultimate truth that underpins all the others, the truth inscribed on the 20th and final tablet, the tablet of all is one. Having fully embraced our sacred role as the divine artist, finding joy not in a finished product, but in the creative process of sculpting each day, we come to a liberating and profound understanding of our own spiritual path. We see that life is not about arriving at a final, perfect state. It is about the beauty of the journey itself. This realization brings us to the 19th tablet. It is not a static object, but appears to be a living, breathing, spiraling galaxy held in miniature form, constantly and gracefully unfolding. This is the tablet of ceaseless becoming. Its truth is designed to free you from the tyranny of perfectionism and the anxiety of arrival, and its law is this: you are not a project to be completed. You are a universe to be explored. Enlightenment is not a destination. It is the direction of travel. For as long as you have been on a conscious path, the ego has treated your spiritual growth as another project, another goal to be achieved. It takes the infinite, boundless mystery of awakening and turns it into a finite, linear race. It creates a mental image of an enlightened person, someone who is perpetually calm, never gets angry, and has all the answers, and then it constantly judges you for not having reached that impossible ideal. It whispers, "You are still not there yet. You still have so much work to do. Look how much more spiritual that other person is." This egoic striving for a future state of perfection is the most subtle and stubborn trap on the spiritual path. It is the very thing that keeps you from being present with the perfection of your own unfolding, right here, right now. Today, we lay down this heavy burden. We cease to be seekers of a future state, and we begin to be explorers of our present one. To understand your true nature, consider the universe itself. The great, sprawling galaxies, the incandescent nebulae, the billions of stars, they are not static. The universe is in a state of constant, glorious, and accelerating expansion. It is not expanding towards a final, perfect end state. It is not trying to get somewhere. The expansion itself is its intrinsic nature. Its ceaseless becoming is its state of being. You are a perfect microcosm of this macrocosm. You are not a fixed entity designed to reach a state of completion. You are a process. You are a universe of consciousness. And your very nature is to perpetually expand, to know yourself more deeply, to love yourself more fully, and to express yourself more authentically. To seek a final, static state of enlightenment is to fight against the fundamental current of your own cosmic nature. It is like asking a great river to please stop flowing because you want to build a permanent house in the middle of it. It is asking a galaxy to please stop expanding because the vastness makes you feel unsettled. The true path is to fall in love with your own expansion. It is to celebrate the fact that there will always be more to learn, more to feel, more to understand, more to become. This shifts your entire orientation from one of anxious striving to one of joyful curiosity. The question changes from the ego's stressful demand, "Why am I not there yet?" to the soul's curious whisper, "I wonder what I will discover next." Think of a serpent shedding its skin. It does not shed its skin once in its life and then declare, "I am now the perfect, final version of a serpent." Number. The shedding of the old is a natural, recurring process that allows for its continued growth. Life is a series of these sheddings. We are meant to outgrow our beliefs, our identities, our ways of being. Each time we shed an old skin, we are not failing, we are succeeding. We are allowing for the next, more expansive version of ourselves to emerge. Each awakening is not the final awakening. It is the perfect awakening for this particular stage of our journey. When you embrace this, you can finally offer yourself boundless compassion. You are not a failed spiritual seeker because you still feel anger or fear at times. You are a perfect, expanding universe, learning about the energy of anger, learning about the energy of fear. Every so-called mistake or step backward is not a deviation from the path. It is the path itself. A spiral, when viewed from the side, can look like you are going up and down, sometimes returning to a place you have been before. But when viewed from above, you can see that you are never in the same place twice. You are always spiraling upwards to a new and higher vantage point. This releases you from the need to have all the answers. The divine artist does not need to know how the painting will end. She just needs to be present with the current brushstroke. The explorer does not need to have the entire continent mapped out. He just needs to be aware and awake as he takes the next step into the unknown. Fall in love with the questions. Find the sacredness in not knowing. The mystery is not a problem to be solved. It is a reality to be savored. When you live from this place of ceaseless becoming, you become more dynamic, more flexible, more alive. You are no longer brittle, trying to defend a fixed and perfect identity. You are fluid, like water, able to adapt and flow with the ever-changing landscape of life. You find joy not in certainty, but in discovery. Your life is no longer about proving your worth, but about exploring your worth. And you find that your worth, like the universe itself, is infinite and ever-expanding. This is the key to eternal youthfulness of spirit. It is the understanding that there is no finish line. The game is infinite. And the point of an infinite game is not to win, but to keep playing with as much joy, creativity, and love as possible. You are here to enjoy the ride, the unfolding, the glorious, and sometimes messy, process of your own becoming. As we learn to embrace our nature as a ceaselessly becoming being, like an ever-expanding galaxy, a final, profound realization begins to dawn. We look at our own unfolding consciousness, and we look out at the unfolding universe, and the line between the two becomes impossibly thin. We see that the expansion of our own awareness is inseparable from the expansion of all consciousness. We feel our own heartbeat as the rhythm of the cosmos. This intimate realization that there is no true separation, that all things are simply different aspects of one grand, unified, and evolving dance, brings us to the final threshold of our journey. We are now ready to perceive the ultimate truth that underpins all the others, the truth inscribed on the 20th and final tablet, the tablet of all is one. We have journeyed so far and so deep. We have spiraled through the great chambers of the soul, unsealing one truth after another. We have seen that we are the observer of our world and the gardener of our mind. We have learned to play the music of our feeling state, to heal our wounds with pure gold, to embrace our nature as divine artists in a state of ceaseless becoming. Each tablet has been a gateway, a new perspective, chipping away at the great illusion of our separation. And now, we arrive at the very center of the labyrinth, the source from which all the other truths radiate. We come to the 20th and final tablet. It is not made of stone or light or even thought. It is made of pure, undivided, living being. This is the tablet of all is one, and it speaks a single, silent, thunderous truth that dissolves all remaining questions. The separation you perceived was the dream. The oneness you are about to feel is the awakening. Every tablet we have unsealed has been a signpost pointing toward this ultimate destination. We learned that the observer and the observed are a single, unified event. We saw that our minds are woven from a great, collective field of consciousness. We recognize that our sacred wounds connect us through shared humanity, and that every other person is a mirror soul, reflecting our own face back to us. We understood that the laws of giving and karma are simply the mechanics of an inescapably interconnected energetic system. All along, the universe has been trying to show us this one simple, paradigm-shattering truth. For your entire life, you have lived under the hypnosis of being a separate individual. You have experienced yourself as a wave in the ocean. You have identified with your unique form, your personal history, the specific day you were born from the great swell and the inevitable day you will crash upon the shore and cease to be. You have felt distinct from the other waves, sometimes competing with them for position, sometimes moving in harmony with them, but always fundamentally separate. You have lived in fear of your own end, the dissolution of your precious individual form. The final awakening, the ultimate truth of this final tablet, is the sudden, cellular, irrefutable realization that you are not the wave. You have never been just the wave. You are, and have always been, the entire, boundless, eternal ocean. The form you call you is simply a temporary and beautiful expression of what the ocean is doing in this particular space and time. It is the ocean rising up to experience itself as a unique perspective, to feel the sun and the wind, to taste its own saltiness. The final crash upon the shore is not a death. It is not an end. It is a joyful, ecstatic, and peaceful return to the totality of your own being. You lose nothing. You simply cease to pretend that you were ever separate from the everything you truly are. Or, if you prefer, see all of existence as a single cosmic tapestry woven on the loom of eternity. It is infinitely vast and breathtakingly intricate, woven from billions upon billions of individual threads of light. Each thread is a life, a consciousness, a person, an animal, a tree, a planet, a star. You have spent your life identified with your single thread. You have been concerned with its particular color, its texture, its strength, and its path through the great weave. But now, in this final revelation, your perspective shifts. You zoom out, you see with the eyes of God, and you realize that you are not just the thread. You are the entire, magnificent tapestry. Your individual thread is essential and unique, and its existence is inseparable from the whole. Its color and vibration affect every other thread it touches. To pluck one thread, to harm one life, to send out a vibration of fear or hatred, is to send a dissonant, painful shiver through the entire fabric. To brighten your own thread with the light of love, compassion, and awareness is your greatest gift to the whole, for it adds to the luminosity and beauty of the entire cosmic masterpiece. This is the true meaning of love. Divine love, agape, is not an emotion you feel for a separate person. That is affection. A beautiful but limited expression. True, unconditional love is the direct, visceral, feeling recognition of yourself in what you once perceived as other. It is the experience of looking into the eyes of another person, friend, stranger, or even enemy, and seeing your own soul looking back. It is the sudden dissolving of the boundary, the melting of the illusion of you and me. It is the direct experience of honesty. From this state of being, compassion is no longer a virtuous choice. It is an involuntary reflex. When you know you are the entire tapestry, to feel another's pain is to feel it in your own fibers. To help them is to reweave a part of your own being into greater harmony. Joy is no longer a personal, selfish pursuit. The joy of another, the beauty of a sunset, the song of a bird, is all your own joy, for you are the consciousness in which it is all happening. When you know this truth in the core of your being, the entire operating system of the ego collapses. The very concept of an enemy becomes a cosmic absurdity. Who is there to hate? Who is there to fear? Who is there to compete with? Any act of harm towards another is seen for what it is, a profound act of self-harm, a form of cosmic insanity where the left hand tries to attack the right hand, forgetting they are part of the same body. The entire foundation of war, of greed, of prejudice, and of jealousy is revealed as a tragic and painful dream based on a mistaken identity. Your personal awakening, therefore, is not a selfish act. It is the most profound and impactful act of service you can possibly offer to the world. As you cease to be a source of fear, judgment, and separateness, you cease to send those dissonant vibrations into the valley of the world. As you awaken to your nature as the one, as the ocean, as the whole tapestry, you become a beacon of coherent, loving energy. You do not need to do anything. Your very being becomes a healing force in the world. As you heal, the world heals. As you find peace, you broadcast peace. As you remember your own divinity, you silently remind everyone you meet of theirs. And so, we have come full circle. We started this journey as a separate self, looking for answers to its problems. And we have arrived at the realization that there is no separate self, and that all problems were born from that one initial illusion. You are not a human being having a spiritual experience. You are the one, infinite, spiritual being having a temporary and beautiful human experience. Bathed in the light of this ultimate realization, we have now deciphered the final tablet. The journey through the chambers of wisdom is complete, for it has led us back to the infinite, unified space where we have always been. There is nowhere else to go. There is nothing else to become. There is only this one, indivisible, divine reality to be, more and more consciously, in every moment. Let us now rest in the heart of this truth, allowing its peace to integrate into every cell, as we bring our journey of words to a gentle and resonant close. And so, our journey through the great chambers of the soul comes to a gentle close. The echoes of the 20 tablets fade, not into a distant silence, but into the very fabric of your own being. For the greatest truth is this: the tablets were never made of stone. They were never hidden in a forgotten desert or locked away in a secret vault. That was only a metaphor to guide you back to a truth that is much more intimate, much more alive. The ancestral tablets are made of flesh and bone. They are written in the silent, rhythmic language of your own heartbeat. The sacred knowledge is inscribed in the very helix of your DNA. You are the forbidden text. You are the living wisdom. This entire journey was not an act of learning something new, but a process of remembering what you have always, on the deepest level, known. It was an unlearning of fear, a remembering of love, a gentle dissolving of the walls you thought kept you safe, but which only ever kept you separate. Do not try to hold on to every word, every metaphor. That is the way of the mind. Instead, simply hold the feeling that has awakened within you, the feeling of spaciousness, the feeling of peace, the feeling of homecoming. You have looked into the mirror of the universe, and after a long and winding journey, you have finally recognized your own face, the face of love itself, the face of the one, indivisible and divine reality. There is nothing left to seek. There is nothing left to strive for. There is only this reality to be, this presence to inhabit, this love to express. Your life is now the living tablet. Your every breath, your every action, your every interaction is a new line being inscribed upon it. Live it with the wisdom you have remembered. Live it with the courage you have uncovered. Live it with the peace that you are. Let these words be a soft anchor for your awareness in the days and weeks to come. Let them be a quiet hum beneath the noise of the world, a gentle reminder of the truth you now hold, not as an idea, but as an experience. Repeat them not as an affirmation to convince yourself, but as a statement of fact from the core of your being. I am the silence. I am the sound. I am the truth that I have found. Rest in this. You have arrived where you always were. You are home.